turn. You now have to acclimate back to gravity. Are you ready for that? What's that like from both of you?
Well, from me, having experienced it, I know first person, it sucks. Gravity really does. And so I am not looking forward to that part. It's, some people get motion sick or space motion sickness and have symptoms coming uphill. And some people get it going downhill. I'm a downhill person where I don't really adjust as well to gravity as I adjust to microgravity. So we'll see how it's going to turn out for sure.
Yeah, I'm it's first time for me, so I have no expectations of going back into gravity. The only hope is that I did have some symptoms coming up, so I'm hoping that I will not have going down unless and until I get burst of both the worlds and I get both the time. So you never know.
Okay, well, we'll have to ask you when you're back in gravity with us. In these last couple of days, what are you really looking forward to? What are you holding on to from this experience?
So I think there is one very strong feeling that I'm having that there are just a few days left in this mission. And obviously there are activities planned and science to be completed and everything has to be repacked. But my intent is to savor this as much as possible. And I try to, whatever little time I get, I go sit by the window, most of the times taking pictures. But if not, just sitting by the window and looking down, looking back at the earth. I think it is the most beautiful that I have seen till date. So I just want to savor it as much as I can in the last few days.
That's good advice because savoring every minute while we're here is important to just build in those memories to take home with you.
Well, Shucks, I'm going to make you do more math. Since we've talked, how far have we traveled?
Okay, let's see. It's 1850 and we started 1840, like 10 minutes, right? And we are moving at 17,500 miles per hour.
Wow.
And so that roughly puts around 2,900 miles off from where we started. So, yeah.
Oh,
is that good enough?
You're such a show-off. It's good to see you wearing your astronaut pin. Good to see both of you, and I look forward to seeing you back when you're home very, very soon. Thanks for spending a little time with me today.
All right, you take care.
Well, we will. From everyone here at Axiom Space and from those in India, Hungary, and Poland, Godspeed. We will be seeing you both very soon.
Well, that was India's very own Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, very much in his element. Ladies and gentlemen, I am being joined by Dr. S Wankeshwara Sharma, who is the former ISRO director. So thank you for speaking to Republic. What I want to know from you is if you could just walk our viewers through the steps that are involved in the Axiom 4 crew's return journey to Earth, particularly the splashdown process.
Yeah, good morning, Antara, and good morning to million Republic viewers. Happy to be back with you people. Today morning and of course yesterday evening at 4:40 p.m. IST, we saw successful undocking of the Dragon Crew module and the 5 successful burning of the boosters and the thrusters to separate the Dragon Crew module from ISS so that the safe distance of about 10 to 15 kilometers is maintained between the Dragon Crew module and the ISS was successfully achieved yesterday at around 5 p.m. Indian Standard Time. This is first. Second thing is that immediately after that, around 5:30 to 5:45, the crew have settled down and they have come out of the astronaut suits and they were freely walking around and wandering around and doing several of those specific aspects of settling down in the Dragon module for the 22.5 hours journey. Now with that, today we are around 3 hours 37 minutes from the splashdown, and now the Dragon module has aligned itself into the Earth atmosphere in orbit, what we call it as Earth atmosphere, the elliptical orbit, where it would splash down to the California Sea. So this is how the activities are going on. In the last 20 hours approximately. The Dragon Crew module has calibrated itself internally as well as calibrated itself with respect to the ISS station and also the station at the ground Houston station in terms of the various parameters which are required to sync between the Dragon crew module and the Earth master facility where the Dragon module is continuously monitored. Having said that, now the Dragon module will be in around 350 kilometer orbit, ready to plunge into the ocean at about 53 minutes to the plunging. That is about 2 hours 4 minutes. The actual the entering into the atmosphere would start. So that 53 minutes of crucial happening where the splashdown should happen is considered to be most crucial and also involved. In that 53 minutes, first 20 minutes are required to orient the spacecraft, the Dragon spacecraft, towards the Earth and firing the thrusters to orient towards the splashdown points and slowing down the spacecraft, which is running at around 28,000 kilometers per hour, and it should come down to 6,000 to 7,000 kilometers per hour when it reaches about 5 kilometers from the Earth's surface. Therefore, those activities will go on for first 20-25 minutes, where the Dragon the thrusters will be fired 3 to 4 times to align and slow down the Dragon crew module towards the splashdown point. The last 20 minutes is really much more crucial, as the Dragon module has to literally come down from 27,000 kilometers per hour speed to about 27 kilometers per hour speed when it splashes down. Therefore, at about 5.5 kilometers, 2 parachute will be what we call as auxiliary parachute will be deployed to slow down the Dragon module speed, and also then at around 3 kilometers from the splashdown point, that is about 2.5 minutes down to the landing point, another 4 parachutes will be deployed, and at exactly 3 p.m. it's expected that it will splash down onto the California Sea at a speed of about 27 kilometers per hour. So once that happens, the crew is back on Earth and they will experience the gravity. So the most crucial time of the astronauts, they will be going through the horrifying time is when at about 53 minutes from the touching down time, when this module enters into the Earth, the temperature rise because of the friction between the module and the Dragon module and the atmosphere will be about 1,600 to 2,000 degree temperature will be the temperature and during that time the trunk will be disconnected and the heat shield, what we call as the heat shields, will be deployed to handle such a temperature, and at the time of re-entry, the weight of the module will be approximately about 3,000 kg. So that is the time when the testing time for the astronauts, when they experience extremely huge shock and the thermal shock as well. And also there will be 10 minutes cut off of the radio signals, because when it enters into the atmosphere, the heat generated and the plasma is so high that there will be cut off. So that is the testing time. With all that, once it splashes down, the ships are ready. In about 2 kilometers radius, the ships are ready to pick the module. And once the module is picked up, it will be thoroughly washed and it will be cleaned to remove all the contamination, acid wash, and then once it is safe for the astronauts to come out, then the astronauts will be brought out or wheeled out from the module.
Dr. Sharma, I'm so sorry I'll have to interrupt you, but thank you for speaking with Republic. Thank you for giving our viewers and us those updates. Ladies and gentlemen, staying with the same story, beaming with pride, Shubhanshu Shukla's parents spoke to Republic. The anticipation is high, and rightly so. Take a look at what the proud parents had to say. Listen in.
खुशी का पल है और परिवार तो खुश है ही, साथ ही लखनऊ में भी खुशी की बात है। भारत का लाल, लखनऊ का गौरव शुभांशु आज वापस पृथ्वी पर पहुंचने वाला है। तस्वीर से शुरू करते हैं। देखिए, मुस्कुराता हुआ चेहरा, और इस कीर्तिमान, इस महान किरदार को रचने में जो शिल्पकार हैं, उनके माता पिता, वो हमारे संग मौजूद हैं, इनकी माँ मौजूद हैं। बहुत सी बातें इतने दिनों में इस कवरेज के दौरान शुभांशु से जुड़ी हुई, उनकी परवरिश से जुड़ी हुई माता जी ने बताई है। आंटी जी, इतने दिन अंतरिक्ष में वो रहे, सबसे स्मरण करने वाला लम्हा क्या था जब उन्होंने आपको वीडियो कॉल पे बहुत कुछ दिखाया, बताया? सबसे स्मरण क्या आता है?
यही दिखाया था उन्होंने कि वहाँ से धरती सबसे अच्छी लगती है। सब वो उसका ये वाक्य कि सारे जहाँ से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा, ये वाक्य दिल को छू गया। बहुत अच्छा लगा सुन के। और सूर्योदय का नज़ारा भी उसने दिखाया, वो भी बहुत अच्छा लगा वहाँ से हमको।
अच्छा, आज सुबह आप यूं भी 4 बजे उठ जाती हैं, आज सुबह उठी हैं, पूजा पाठ आपने की है, क्या पूजा उजा की जरा बताएं।
पूजा हनुमान जी के मंदिर गए, दर्शन किया, उसके बाद आके घर में सुंदरकांड का पाठ किया, घर की पूजा की जो रोज वाली है, वो सब करके और तब तक आप लोग आ गए।
हम लोग आगे देखिए मुस्कुरा भी रही। और ये बताइए, इतने दिन से लगातार इतनी चर्चाएं हैं, कितना गौरव फील होता है? इतने दिन से लगातार शुभ्रांशु अखबारों में, टीवी में बड़े बड़े नेता घर आ रहे हैं, कितने गौरव की बात है, कितना बड़ा गौरव बालक।
गौरव तो है ही, गौरव का पल है बहुत ज़्यादा, तो गौरव महसूस हो रहा है। बच्चे ने इतना गौरवान्वित किया है कि मतलब वो शब्दों में नहीं बयान कर सकते, इतना ज़्यादा गौरव है।
देश की तमाम
Time to slip into a very short break. On the other side, after years of speculation, Tesla is all set to open its first showroom in India today. The American electric vehicle giant will launch an experience center at Bandra Kaldra complex in Mumbai. Not just this, massive controversy on Air India 171 probe. DGCA is yet to answer Republic-specific questions. We'll get you this and a lot more. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
MDH की देगी मीरज,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मीरज।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
We are very unhappy, I am, with Russia, but we'll discuss that maybe a different day. But we're very, very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. Tariffs at about 100%. You'd call them secondary tariffs. You know what that means.
India's Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla en route home after 18-day mission aboard the International Space Station. 20-year-old student from Fakir Mohan College in Balasore succumbs to her burn injuries after self-immolation over alleged sexual harassment by a faculty member. External Affairs Minister S Shankar, who is in China for the SCO meeting, meets Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing.
And negotiations are going on at a very fast pace and in the spirit of mutual cooperation, so that we can come out with a win-win trade complementing agreement with the United States.
Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal says that trade negotiations with the United States are advancing at a very fast pace and in the spirit of mutual cooperation. After years of speculation, Tesla opens its first showroom in India today. The American electric vehicle giant launches an experience center at the Bandra Kurla complex in Mumbai. Massive controversy over AI 171 probe. DGCA yet to answer Republic's specific questions. All right, we have breaking news coming in at this moment. India on Monday received the second GE-404 engines from the United States for the LCA Mark 1A fighter jet aircraft program. Indian public sector firm Hindustan Aeronautics Limited is expected to receive 12 GE-404 engines by the end of this financial year. And these engines will be fitted on the LCA Mark 1A fighter jets. Indian Air Force has placed orders for 83 LCA Mark 1A fighter jets and a proposal to buy 97 more of these planes is an advanced stage after the Defence Ministry clearance. And viewers, we have more breaking news coming in. The Supreme Court has summoned a few Samir Raina, who is one of the comedians, Nishant, Sonali, Vipul and Balraj, in a case related to mocking persons with disabilities. The Apex Court has ordered their personal appearance in connection with the matter. So remember, Samir Raina is one of the top celebrities who has been summoned by the Supreme Court. And this is a case related to mocking persons with disabilities. Remember, Samir Raina had also earlier faced the ire of the people over his comments in an earlier show as well. And he had later taken down that show from his YouTube channel. And he had faced a lot of backlash. So there is more trouble for Samir Raina in the case. And this is a case related to mocking persons with disabilities. And time and again, there have been allegations against Samir Raina over insensitivity over several issues. And this is a case related to mocking persons with disabilities. And now the Supreme Court, it is the Supreme Court of the country that has issued a summons to comedians, including Samir Raina. All right, we are joined in by a guest joining us. So we have Advocate Aditya, who is joining us. Thank you so much for joining us here on. All right, Aditya, our colleague, is now joining us for more on that. Aditya, what is the update? What is the case related to? We understand it is about an insensitive remark that Samir Raina and some of the other colleagues made. And give us more updates.
Yeah, the parties in the case are Samir Raina, Ashish, and the likes of the people who have actually joined on the specially able kids. Now the matter will be heard in the courtroom too in next few minutes in the Supreme Court.
Updates about the case, Aditya, because it is not the first time that Samir Raina has faced controversy over some of his alleged insensitive remarks, and this is the second time that this has been happening. Give us more updates about this case.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, the matter was regarding a summon. Now, Samir Raina had.
All right. Thank you so much for those details there. All right, let's get you an update on the Odisha self-immolation case. And the Chief Minister of the state, Mohan Charan Manji, has expressed a deep sorrow over the death of the Fakir Mohan College student who had set herself on fire following alleged sexual harassment. And the Chief Minister has ordered a thorough investigation and stressed that the guilty must be punished strictly as per law. He has also announced a 20 lakh rupees financial aid for the student's family from the Chief Minister's Relief Fund.
बड़ी दुखद की घटना है कि हम लोग सब उनको डॉक्टर लोगों ने 3 दिन से जी तोड़ मेहनत कर रहे थे। दिल्ली की एम्स की सराहना पे चिकित्सा भी हो रही थी, लेकिन हम सब मिलके भी उनको बचा नहीं पाए। उड़ीसा की एक बेटी ने जिस किस्म की बलिदान दी है, इसमें जो भी इन्वॉल्व है सरकार उनके ऊपर कठोर कार्यानुष्ठान करेगी। अभी तो दोनों जेल में हैं जिसके नाम पे आई है, लेकिन जो कंप्लेन कमेटी है जो भी तदंत में जो भी सामने आएंगी उनके ऊपर कठोर कार्यानुष्ठान होगा।
देखिए, बहुत ही गंभीर विषय है और दुखद घटना है जहां एक बच्ची की मृत्यु हो गई और कॉलेज की भी लापरवाही थी, जो उन्होंने उनके आईसी कमेटी ने नहीं सुना, उसको टेकअप नहीं किया और उसकी कंप्लेंट पे कोई कार्रवाई नहीं की। ऐसे विषयों पर पॉलिटिक्स करने के बजाय राहुल गांधी को इस समय परिवार को और स्पेशली विक्टिम्स के परिवार के साथ खड़ा होना चाहिए, ना कि उसे पॉलिटिसाइज करना चाहिए। जब भी कोई घटना वेस्ट बंगाल में होती है या कांग्रेस रूल किसी भी कंट्री में किसी भी स्टेट में होती है, वो बिल्कुल चुप रहते हैं, उस विषय पर कुछ नहीं कहते। मैंने नहीं सुना राहुल और प्रियंका को वेस्ट बंगाल में इतनी मृत्यु हुई, बच्चियों के साथ इतनी दुखद घटनाएं हुई, एक भी शब्द बोलते हुए। और इन विषयों पर हम सबको एक साथ खड़े होना चाहिए और पॉलिटिक्स को एक अलग रखना चाहिए। और ये बहुत ज़रूरी है कि महिलाओं की जहाँ तक सिक्योरिटी और सेफ्टी की बात।
All right, big breaking news coming in from Telangana, where CPI leader Chandu Rathore has been shot dead by 3-4 unidentified assailants at a park in Malapet area. And the assailants arrived in car. According to officials, the attackers first sprinkled chili powder on the victim, and as he attempted to flee, they opened fire, resulting in his death at the scene. Now, police visited the incident spot and investigations are continuing. So, a CPI leader has been shot dead in Malakpet. CPI leader Chandu Rathore shot dead by unidentified assailants while he was on a walk in one of the parks in Malakpet, and police are looking into the incident. Unidentified assailants are shooting dead CPI leader Chandu Rathore. This happening in Telangana. Apparently, he was on a morning walk. He was staying in the Malakpet area. All right, let's get all the details. Aneri, our colleague, is now joining us for more details. Aneri, what details are emerging in the case? CPI leader Chandu Rathore shot dead by unidentified assailants. What is that the police are saying at the moment?
Well, what we know is that another 3 to 4 unidentified assailants had arrived at the park there early in the morning when Chandu Rathore was walking, and the reason behind, the motive behind this killing is not yet known. But the police officials say that they had sprinkled chili powder in his eyes and tried to flee away, and when they were trying to flee from the spot, that is the time when 3 to 4 they had shot down Chandu Rathore, and also at the same time he died on the spot is what we know. And now the police officials have registered a case, and further they are investigating into this very matter as to what exactly happened. And also at the same time, what we see is that this incident had been reported at a park early in the morning at around 7:30 a.m. and now the police officials are investigating into this case.
All right, thank you so much, Neri, for those details there. And viewers, we have more breaking news. This coming in from Tamil Nadu, where unidentified miscreants threw black paint on the statue of former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister and DMK Chief M. Karunanidhi. The police is now investigation at the Salem's Anna Park. Former Chief Minister and DMK leader M. Karunanidhi's statue was vandalized with black paint. Now, this has sparked outrage among the DMK supporters. The police are investigating the matter, and at the moment, they are struggling to identify the culprits as there was no CCTV in that area. And this incident occurring when Karunanidhi's son, MK Stalin, is launching a plan with you, Stalin, in Tamil Nadu today. Let's get all the updates. Sharda, my colleague, is now joining us from Chennai. Sharda, what are the details emerging in the case? Because as mentioned earlier, there was no CCTV in that area. So how are the police going ahead as far as the probe is concerned onto who are the people who put so much of black paint on the statue?
Well, they've tried to deface the statue of M. Karunanidhi, the late Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, and also who is the father of the MK Stalin, the DMK leader. Now, the police continue to state there's no CCTV footages in that particular area, which is the Anna Park, which is situated in Salem. However, now police try to say that it could be certain miscreants who try to, put down DMK, because today MK Stalin is starting his campaign for the 2026 elections in Tamil called the Ungaludan Stalin, which literally means with you, Stalin, trying to make sure that the DMK government has not done in the last 4 years, and people who hate the DMK government is what the police is trying to tell would have done this particular act. The police is also stating that they would be investigating the people in and around the area if they saw anybody carrying black paints, the bucket of paints that has been thrown on the statue of late leader M. Karunanidhi. And today Stalin is in Kadalur starting this particular program of With You Stalin for the 2026 elections campaign, and this comes as a shock for the entire DMK, because stating that M. Karunanidhi was a famous leader and also a strong leader when it comes to Tamil Nadu. He's given a tough fight starting from the 1950s to 2011, and the DMK has been under his reign for so many years. So now stating that instead of MK Stalin, people showing their agitation against M. Karunanidhi is seen as something that the DMK is not satisfied with.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Sharda, for all those details there. And viewers, let's move on in the bulletin now. Fauja Singh, the iconic 114-year-old marathon runner, has tragically passed away in Punjab today. Take a look at this report.
Iconic marathon runner Fauja Singh passes away in a road accident at the age of 114. The accident took place on Monday while he was hit by an unidentified vehicle while he was crossing the road. He was taken to a hospital where he later passed away. Fauja Singh gained global fame for starting his marathon journey at the age of 89. After taking part in the 2011 Toronto Waterfront Marathon at the age of 100, he became the oldest person to complete a full marathon. His legacy will live on and will continue to inspire athletes of generations to come.
All right, big breaking news coming in, and this related to the Bengaluru stampede case, and the court has rejected state government's plea for a sealed cover in the stampede case. It has directed the report be shared with all the parties. During the ongoing hearing in the stampede case, the state government had submitted before the court that the details of the investigation report were being misused, and therefore it had requested that the report be submitted in a sealed cover to prevent further leakage or misinterpretation of the sensitive information. However, the court has rejected this and has asked for all the copies to be shared. So, all right, Abhishek, my colleague, is now joining us live from Bengaluru. Abhishek, stating that, there's no national security or public interest involved in keeping the documents really in a sealed cover. Karnataka High Court really mandating the disclosure of the report. What more can you tell us? What else did the court say today?
Well, Aishwarya, it is very clear from the High Court's order stating that the sealed cover or the sealed data which has been the report which is in the sealed cover had to be placed in front of various other political parties so as to make sure that the government's investigation is completely clear and fine, and there is nothing speculative within the data, is what the High Court has mentioned. On the other hand, state government demanded or requested that various other misinformation regarding the stampede event are being spread by various other social medias or people in the society, and this is the reason as to why the state government demanded that the report be kept in the sealed envelope or the sealed container until the next hearing. On the other hand, the High Court mentioned this is a public document. The interrogation or the investigation is carried out to make sure the people know the actual truth of what happened on June 4th, that is during the RCB stampede, which also took lives of 11 innocent people. So on the other note, we should clearly understand the fact that the High Court wants the data to be kept in front of the people so that the people will be able to understand who is at the fault and who is supposed to be targeted at this point of time. It is also mentioned within the report that the police department, the government is also equally responsible. Once this data is out in the public domain, this is when the people can have a decision as to whom they can shift the focus to. So this is one of the major setbacks for the government as of now, because the High Court has ordered the government to enclose or close the seal and to keep the data in front of the public. Aishwarya.
Absolutely. So Karnataka High Court ordering full disclosure of the status report on the Bengaluru stampede case. Thank you so much, Abhishek, for those details there. And viewers, we are taking a very short break, and coming up ahead, External Affairs Minister S Shankar, who is in China for the SCO meeting, meets Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing. Also coming up ahead, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal says trade negotiations with the United States are advancing at a very fast pace. Details on those big stories coming up after a short break.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
We are very unhappy, I am, with Russia, but we'll discuss that maybe a different day. But we're very, very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. Tariffs at about 100%. You'd call them secondary tariffs. You know what that means.
We have big breaking news coming in related to Udaipur files. The Supreme Court is going to hear Kanhaiya Lal murder case accused plea against the release of the movie Udaipur Files, and that is going to happen tomorrow. The plea for the producers seeking a stay on the movie was mentioned yesterday by the senior advocate Gaurav Bhatia before the Supreme Court, and now both the matters will be heard together by the Supreme Court tomorrow. Let's get all the details. Our colleague Rhythm is now joining us on the phone line. Rhythm, what do we make of these two cases that will be heard tomorrow in the Supreme Court? One, the accused plea against the release of the film, and then the other plea of the producer seeking a stay on the movie.
Well, absolutely. Today what has happened is that the Supreme Court was hearing senior advocate Arnab Goswami, who mentioned the case pertaining to Udaipur Files. She was appearing for the accused in the Rajasthan case concerning the particular murder of the tailor. And she said, we are accused in this case in the alleged killing. There was a mention regarding hate speech. We're on fair trial. They want the matters can be heard together. So Justice Kant has said we will list both the matters together, and both the matters tomorrow. The Udaipur matters that had been challenged after the Delhi High Court had stopped the release of the film shall be heard tomorrow in the Supreme Court. There are two different pleas, but it's going to be both these cases being heard tomorrow before the Supreme Court is finally going to take some sort of note about what will finally happen. Yesterday also the Supreme Court had agreed to hear this case. They had not given a particular time for it to be listed. Finally the Supreme Court has said, after the makers of Udaipur files approached the Supreme Court after the Delhi High Court stay order on its release, that they will hear both the cases tomorrow itself.
All right. Thank you so much, Rhythm, for all those updates and insights on that big story. And viewers, Elon Musk's Tesla has finally launched its first showroom in India today. The store opened in Maharashtra's Bandra Kurla complex and also plans a second location in Delhi NCR soon after. And during the inauguration of Tesla's first experience Center, Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis welcomed the company and said that Tesla has arrived in the right city and state, and that is the state of Maharashtra and the city of Mumbai, which is the entrepreneur capital of India. Let's listen in to Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis.
At the very outset, I would like to welcome Tesla to India. I think this is not just inauguration of an experience center, but it is a statement that Tesla has arrived, a statement that Tesla has arrived in the right city, in the right state. That is the state of Maharashtra and the city of Mumbai, which is the entrepreneur capital of India, not just financial, commercial and entertainment capital, but also the entrepreneur capital of India. We are very happy that you are here, and I'm sure that the people of Mumbai and the people of India are going to love Tesla, and you will have one of your best market in India.
Time to take a break. Coming ahead, it is homecoming as India's group captain Shubhanshu Shukla is en route home after a 15-day mission aboard the International Space Station. Also, the Balasore sexual harassment case update. Student succumbs to her injuries after self-immolation. Odisha Chief Minister expresses grief. Details on those big stories and much more after a short break. Stay tuned.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला, क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
We are very unhappy, I am, with Russia, but we'll discuss that maybe a different day. But we're very, very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. Tariffs at about 100%. You'd call them secondary tariffs. You know what that means.
The top international focus that we are tracking, US President Donald Trump on Monday, he threatened tariffs on Russia, steep tariffs, and announced a rejuvenated pipeline for the American weapons to reach Ukraine. Here's a report.
I think this is a chance at getting peace. Or it's just going to be the same thing. I have to tell you, Europe has a lot of spirit for this war. I speak to them a lot about getting this thing done. And I always hang up and say, well, that was a nice phone call. And then missiles are launched into Kiev or some other city. And I said, it's strange. And after that happens 3 or 4 times, you say, the talk doesn't mean anything. My conversations with him are always very pleasant. They say, isn't that a very lovely conversation? And then the missiles go off that night. He's, I don't want to say he's an assassin, but he's a tough guy. It's been proven over the years. He's fooled a lot of people. He fooled Bush. He fooled a lot of people. He fooled Clinton, Bush, Obama, Biden. He didn't fool me. But what I do say is that at a certain point, ultimately talk doesn't talk. It's got to be action. It's got to be results. And I hope he does it. It's potentially such a great country to be wasting so many people on this and the money.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबां केसरी अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया सफेद चने या काले चने सब कुछ मजेदार बने
We've been very successful in settling wars. You have India, Pakistan, you have Rwanda and the Congo. That was going on for 30 years. India, by the way, and Pakistan would have been a nuclear war within another week, the way that was going. That was going very badly. And we did that through trade. I said, we're not going to talk to you about trade unless you get this thing settled. And they did. And they were both great leaders. And they were great.
So really, thank you. This is important.
You did a great job. And it's a really great job. We've been very successful in settling wars. You have India, Pakistan, you have Rwanda and the Congo. That was going on for 30 years. India, by the way, and Pakistan would have been a nuclear war within another week, the way that was going. That was going very badly. And we did that through trade. I said, we're not going to talk to you about trade unless you get this thing settled. And they did. And they were both great leaders. And they were great. But Rwanda.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to be part of Nation's First Movement. Republic's Nationalist Collective is hosting a dynamic conclave on July 19th, and we are inviting passionate nationalists like you to join the conversation. Meet Arnab Goswami and engage with him like-minded individuals who believe in putting the nation first. And do not miss this opportunity to be part of a day-long discussion on shaping the future of our great nation. Secure your spot now and be part of this moment that matters. Write to us at a nationalist collective@republic.com or WhatsApp at 73044 to reserve your seats. India's group captain Shubhanshu Shukla en route home after 18-day mission aboard ISS. 20-year-old student from Fakir Mohan College in Balasore succumbs to burn injuries after self-immolation over the sexual harassment by a faculty member. External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar, who is in China for the SCO meeting, met with the Chinese president in Beijing.
And negotiations are going on at a very fast pace and in the spirit of mutual cooperation so that we can come out with a win-win trade complementing agreement with the United States.
Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal said that trade negotiations with the United States are advancing at a very fast pace and in the spirit of the mutual cooperation.
After years of speculation, Tesla is all set to open its first showroom in India today. The American electric vehicle giant will launch an experience center at the Bandra Kurla complex in Mumbai. Massive controversy over Air India 171 probe. DGCA yet to answer Republic TV's specific questions. Top of the hour, let's get you details on the major crackdown on drug smuggling in the country. Rajasthan police arrested social media influencer Bhavika Chaudhary for trafficking drugs from Barmer in Rajasthan to Gujarat. Now, the police has seized 152 grams of drugs from the accused while she was travelling in a roadways bus near Sivada police station in Jalore. The 83,000 follower Instagram influencer was caught during the targeted operation and is now in the custody as the investigation continues into the drug supply network. So this is as far as one influencer who has been caught in a major crackdown by the Rajasthan police, which has arrested a social media influencer. Her name is Bhavika Chaudhary. She has as many as 83,000 followers on Instagram and she was caught trafficking drugs from Barmer in Rajasthan to Gujarat. Let me go across to my colleague Akil, who has been tracking this story very closely. Akil, tell us, how was this influencer tracked by the police and how much drug has been recovered from her?
Well, Akanksha, if you see in this case, what we have seen that in a major crackdown on drug smuggling, Chitalwana police in Rajasthan has arrested social media influencer Bhavika Chaudhary. And if you see, she's commonly known as Bhanwadi for the social media community. Because if you see, she has been involved in trafficking of MD drugs from Barmer, which is in Rajasthan, to Gujarat. So the police team, which is investigating the case has seized 152 grams of MD from the accused, and right now she has been taken into the police custody at Sivada police station in Jalore. And if you just talk about the social media fan following, she has got 83,000 followers on Instagram. And right now, the information that we have received from the Rajasthan police in Jalore district, they have said that she was caught during a targeted operation. And right now, the social media influencer is in the custody as the investigation continued into the drug supply network by the Rajasthan police.
Absolutely. This influencer has been caught with 152 grams of the drugs. Thank you, Akil, for all the details. We'll keep coming back to you for more on this. Now, we are shifting our focus to the national capital. Supreme Court is hearing the plea on quashing of AIMIM's registration by the Election Commission of India. And the matter was before the court after the Delhi High Court's rejecting the plea. The petitioner argued that if religion is in your political party name and you seek votes on the name of religion, then you are violative of the law. The court has asked him to withdraw the petition and asked to file a petition, in fact, on the wider prayer seeking reforms by the political party. In fact, what we're learning is that this has been filed by one Tirupati Narasimha in the Supreme Court. Let me go across to our executive editor, Rhythm Bhardwaj, who's been tracking this story very closely. Tell us what happened in the Supreme Court today and what was the direction that was given in this specific case. If you can hear me, could you tell us what happened in this specific case today? But because what we're learning is that the court has asked the petitioner to withdraw the specific petition and file another one on the wider implications. All right, so the Supreme Court, in fact, today refused to entertain a plea to cancel the registration of AIMIM, a party of Owaisi, as a political party. Now, at the same time, the court has now allowed the petitioner to file a new writ petition raising the larger issue regarding the validity of the political party. Let me once again go across to Executive Editor Rhythm Bhardwaj, who's been tracking this story. Tell us what happened in the Supreme Court as far as this specific case is concerned.
The case came up before Justice Kant, who said that this particular plea that has been filed, and it was argued in the court by Advocate Vishnu Shankar Jain, said that votes cannot be canvassed in name of religion. This is against the basic premises of secularism, and AIMIM as a political party by the Election commission should be deregistered. However, Justice Suryakant made several observations where he said if you read all OBCs, including this is what the Constitution also envisages, there are certain rights guaranteed to minorities. He also went on to say in practical life, you see people from this party invoking communal sentiments can be brought before us. They also went on to say the judgment only comes to play when you see communal sentiments are being stoked. We are not on communal parties. Sometimes regional parties also invoke regional sentiments without criticizing anyone. Such issues can be raised. He tried to argue the case, that is Vishnu Shankar. However, the Supreme Court did say you can withdraw this with a liberty to raise all this in a broader scope petition. So the big breaking news that's coming in, the petition has been withdrawn. They will raise larger issues if it's needed for affairs of political parties on different grounds to be heard.
All right, thank you for all the details. We'll keep coming back to you for more on this. Now we're shifting our focus to the homecoming of Shubhanshu Shukla, the SpaceX Dragon spacecraft, with India's Shubhanshu Shukla and 3 other astronauts on the EXIM-4 mission, undocked the Harmony module of the International Space Station at 4:35 p.m. yesterday. And today it is aiming for a splashdown in the Pacific Ocean of the Southern California coast at around 3 o'clock. The splashdown of the coast of California of the United States is expected to take place at 3 p.m. in the afternoon today, and India's space hero Shubhanshu Shukla is all set to return home from space. The hatch between the SpaceX capsule and the International Space Station has been closed, and the spacecraft has been successfully docked. Let me go across to Dr. S.R. Velanki, former Associate Director at ISRO. Thank you so much for speaking to Republic TV. Now only less than 3 hours to go for that splashdown that we all are eagerly waiting for. Tell us what is going to happen in the next 3 hours. And after that, because what we are learning is that they will be kept in that capsule for another 1 hour. Then they will be taken out, and in the next 7 days, there will be medical monitoring as well. So please take us through that.
Yeah, good afternoon to all of you. It is a momentous occasion that Shubhanshu Shukla and his team are, let us say, coming to the Earth in the Dragon capsule. The name of the capsule is Grace. And the initial undocking and as well as phasing burns are completed. And by around today at afternoon 2:26 p.m., the capsule has got a trunk which has got service module. Service module consists of the material where the activity has been completed, and the batteries and some of the things where they need not be brought to Earth will be jettisoned. It is called trunk jettisoning that takes place so that the mass of the Dragon also will come down, and it is followed by deorbit burn. Deorbit burn is nothing but reducing the orbital velocity, which is roughly 7.7 kilometers per second to the let us say 3 kilometers per second of that type. That is called deorbit burn. The Dragon will take a deorbit burn, and let us say it will be around 12 to 15 minutes, and followed by the nose cone, which is pointing towards the ISS, which is pointing towards the Earth will actually point up now. It is called it will get closed and it will be pointed up, and followed by the re-entry. The re-entry will take place around 5 kilometers altitude, where the two drogue parachutes will get deployed, and then slowly it will descend up to 4 kilometers, where the main parachutes, they are called the main parachutes, which will reduce the velocity and bring the altitude to 1.9 kilometers. That is the parachute deployment. And afterwards, the moment it reaches the splashdown velocity, which is around, let us say, 27 kilometers per hour, much less than, let us say, 10 meters per second, it slowly splashes down, and it splashes down to a place where the California Pacific Ocean side, and where you have the positioning of all the ships as well as the helicopters, where they will helicopters will spot the first, and then from the ship, the helicopters will take off, and then they will bring the let us say the people who are supposed to inspect the capsule will be dropped there, and slowly the ships will reach there. The speedboats and ship will reach there. They will inspect the Dragon, and they will bring it to the dock of the basement of a barrage of a particular ship, and then they slowly open the latches of the doors, and one after the other the astronauts will be let us say taken out. So that is the procedure, and these things will we can say the last 1 hour of the operation, which is will be done meticulously by onboard computers. In the meanwhile, when it enters after the deorbit burn, it enters the re-entry, where the temperature of the capsule will go up to 1600 due to the atmospheric friction. That is called the travel of, let us say, the extreme heat due to the friction of the atmosphere. There is no problem because the Dragon flight has gone through this kind of atmosphere more than 40 times, and this is not the first time. In addition to that, Dragon has got another capsules where they carry the, let us say, the cargo also. They have an experience independently through that also. So totally it has got lot of experience of this particular travel. And all the, let us say, the astronauts are in a suit now. Already by around, let us say, undocking itself, they will be on suit, and then they will be, before deorbiting, they get tied, they attach themselves to the seats, and then they will travel that 1 hour meticulously, and then they will splash down.
Absolutely. Only 2 hours, 45 minutes left for the splashdown, and we will keep our eyes on that. Thanks so much for all the details. Now, India's space journey marks a new chapter as astronaut Shubhanshu Shukla and his fellow crewmates from the EXIM-4 mission are all set to return to Earth today. Shubhanshu Shukla, along with his fellow astronauts, share the insight of the EXIM-4 mission. Listen in to what they spoke about.
However, we are connected live right now with two folks who are not. Peggy, it's always great to see you. This time I'm going to ask you, where are you over Earth?
Where am I over Earth? Hey, Shooks, can you come give me a hand? Let's figure out where we're at, Peggy.
Hi, Shooks.
Hi.
Good to see you. Where are we? Where are you over Earth?
Let's say this is GMT 189, 15th orbit of the day, and it is already 13 days docked. So I guess we should be passing somewhere at the tip of South America.
Did you just do all of that in your head?
No, I just looked at the map.
Okay. Come prepared. I appreciate that. That is fantastic. Well, we have just a little bit of time, and I wanted to, kind of understand what your day has been like. I know the schedule has been full. Do you have any downtime? Do you get any downtime on station?
Actually, we had one brief day off and another one coming up tomorrow because we've been up here 2 weeks now. So, and we're thrilled.
Shooks, what about your downtime?
Oh, yeah. Whatever little I have, I do enjoy downtime for sure. It is a great time up here. It has been very exciting. We've been quite busy, doing experiments and all the activities that we had. But like Peggy mentioned, we did have 1 day off, and tomorrow we are go. Oh, yeah. And the fantastic thing is, whenever I have downtime, I do go out the window and take a lot of pictures. And I'm sleeping in the Dragon, so I have the luxury of having 2 windows to myself. So I do that a lot by night. So, yeah.
Well, watching Peggy's necklace go makes me wonder have you settled into the microgravity atmosphere? Do you feel totally acclimated now, both of you?
Well, I do. I was acclimated when I got here.
Immediately. We know, Peggy. You're in your best place.
Been here a day or two before.
So all this past year, Peggy has been complaining that I speak too fast. I am very fast. I do a lot of things fast. And for the first few days when I came to this station, I actually became slow. So that was my adaptation to microgravity. But I think it was initial 2 days. And after that, everything became normal. And right now, I think I'm very well adjusted to microgravity.
Okay, well, I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you show us how accustomed to microgravity you are? Is a little experiment you could do for us? Just going to float away and go get the things. That's fine.
Showing up on his astronaut tricks. So, but we've got something we want to show you.
Okay.
Proves we're in microgravity. In case you didn't believe my necklace or flying off the ceiling, we got other things to prove we're in zero gravity. And we're going to do this little thing with water.
Sonia, I've become a water bender here in the station, and I've been with this, so you have to see this.
Oh.
So you can see the water forms a ball in zero gravity because the surface tension of the water itself is actually much stronger. Now that we don't have gravity up here, it actually holds it together. He's got this little
tool.
It's a water bubble moving tool. I can actually bring this we can bring closer. If I can find the
Look at that. It's like we're looking at a clear marble, but it's actually a liquid.
Yep.
Is that a bubble inside there?
Yes.
Wow.
There is a bubble inside a water bubble. I told you I have a water bender.
So you really have acclimated beautifully.
Yes. Well, unfortunately, we didn't really want a bubble this time, but we'll go ahead and take it anyway. We're going to do another little example. I've got a plastic bag here.
Okay.
And I'm going to just see what happens when the plastic bag comes in contact with the water.
Slowly.
Oh.
Wow.
Check this out.
The surface tension is kind of like a magnet and grabs it.
Yeah. Yep. It hangs on there. And what's really kind of cool is it actually is almost like a lens. So let's see what you can see through the.
Down, you can show faces.
Yeah, let's right down here so you can see.
All those little bubbles makes it look like you're also wearing polka dots. That's so we sort of are matching today. Well, I also have water here, and if it's not nearly as exciting. It's just not. Your water is much more exciting.
It's a lot more fun to play with, for sure.
Well, I know that you are you're doing so much work. You're doing research. You're doing STEM engagements with kids. What are you ready to come home? Do you have packing that needs to be done? What needs to still get accomplished up there?
We've got the last bits of all our experiments to do, and we will have to pack our dragon to come home. So we have to bring all the supplies, the appropriate supplies home. So that'll be a bit of time. That'll take probably a day or so just to get everything packed away properly. Get everything strapped down so it'll be ready for the return. So we've got a few more days of science, the final data collections, and then we'll be packing and preparing for the return.
And what about that return? You now have to acclimate back to gravity. Are you ready for that? What's that like from both of you?
Well, from me, having experienced it, I know first person, it sucks. Gravity really does. And so I am not looking forward to that part. It's, some people get motion sick or space motion sickness and have symptoms coming uphill. And some people get it going downhill. I'm a downhill person where I don't really adjust as well to gravity as I adjust to microgravity. So we'll see how it's going to turn out for sure.
Yeah, it's first time for me, so I have no expectations of going back into gravity. The only hope is that I did have some symptoms coming up, so I'm hoping that I will not have going down unless and until I get burst of both the worlds and I get both the time. So you never know.
Okay, well, we'll have to ask you when you're back in gravity with us. In these last couple of days, what are you really looking forward to? What are you holding on to from this experience?
So I think there is one very strong feeling that I'm having that there are just a few days left in this mission. And obviously there are activities planned and science to be completed and everything has to be repacked. But my intent is to savor this as much as possible. And I try to, whatever little time I get, I go sit by the window, most of the time taking pictures. But if not, just sitting by the window and looking down, looking back at the earth. I think it is the most beautiful that I have seen till date. So I just want to savor it as much as I can in the last few days.
That's good advice because savoring every minute while we're here is important to just build in those memories to take home with you.
Well, Shucks, I'm going to make you do more math. Since we've talked, how far have we traveled?
Okay, let's see. It's 1850 and we started 1840, like 10 minutes, right? And we are moving at 17,500 miles per hour.
Wow.
And so that roughly puts around 2,900 miles off from where we started. So, yeah. Is that good enough?
You're such a show off. It's good to see you wearing your astronaut pin. Good to see both of you, and I look forward to seeing you back when you're home very, very soon. Thanks for spending a little time with me today.
All right, you take care.
Well, we will. From everyone here at Axiom Space and from those in India, Hungary, and Poland, Godspeed. We will be seeing you both very soon.
And shifting our focus, President Donald Trump has threatened Russia with steep tariffs and announced a rejuvenated pipeline for American weapons to reach Ukraine, hardening his stance towards Moscow after months of frustration about the unsuccessful negotiation for the ending of the war. Here's what he had to say.
I think this is a chance at getting peace. Or it's just going to be the same thing. I have to tell you, Europe has a lot of spirit for this war. I speak to them a lot about getting this thing done. And I always hang up and say, well, that was a nice phone call. And then missiles are launched into Kiev or some other city. And I said, it's strange. And after that happens 3 or 4 times, you say, the talk doesn't mean anything. My conversations with him are always very pleasant. I say, he's not a very lovely conversation. And then the missiles go off that night. He's, I don't want to say he's an assassin, but he's a tough guy. It's been proven over the years. He's fooled a lot of people. He fooled Bush. He fooled a lot of people. He fooled Clinton, Bush, Obama, Biden. He didn't fool me. But what I do say is that at a certain point, ultimately talk doesn't talk. It's got to be action. It's got to be results. And I hope he does it. It's potentially such a great country to be wasting so many people on this and the money. And one of the reasons that you're here today is to hear that we are very unhappy, I am, with Russia. But we'll discuss that maybe a different day. But we're very, very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. Tariffs at about 100%. You'd call them secondary tariffs. You know what that means. And I'm disappointed in President Putin because I thought we would have had a deal 2 months ago, but it doesn't seem to get there. So based on that, we're going to be doing secondary tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. It's very simple. And they'll be at 100%. And that's the way it is. It can be more simple. It's just the way it is. I hope we don't have to do it.
And with this, we're taking a very short break. Coming up on the other side, 20-year-old student from Balasore has succumbed to burn injuries after self-immolation over sexual harassment by a faculty member. And after years of speculation, Tesla is all set to open its first showroom in India today. The American electric vehicle will launch an experience center in Mumbai. This and much more after a very short break. Stay with us.
The reason we've launched the Nationalist Collective is because we believe it is time now for a group of ideologically driven Indians to drive the destiny of our country. For far too long, People who have had interests inimical to national interest have held sway. We need to put nationalism first, nation first. The Nationalist Collective is a very clear and sharp movement, presents the spirit of a new India which stands by what is right, does what is right, and raises its voice for what is right. Remember, this country is safe only if it is in the hands of nationalists. This country will grow only if nation first becomes our principal motto, where the only ism that matters is nationalism. Join the Nationalist Collective. It is going to be the largest non-political movement in this country.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, mass comm, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
We are very unhappy, I am, with Russia, but we'll discuss that maybe a different day. But we're very, very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. Tariffs at about 100%. You'd call them secondary tariffs. You know what that means.
India's group captain Shubhanshu Shukla en route home after 18 days mission on board the International Space Station. 20-year-old from Fakir Mohan College in Balasore succumbs to burn injuries after self-immolation over alleged sexual harassment by a faculty member. External Affairs Minister Dr. S Jaishankar, who is in China for the SCO meeting, meets Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing.
And negotiations are going on at a very fast pace and in the spirit of mutual cooperation, so that we can come out with a win-win trade complementing agreement with the United States.
Union Minister for Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal says that the trade negotiations with the United States are advancing at a very fast pace and in spirit of mutual cooperation. After years of speculation, Tesla is all set to open its first showroom in India. Today, the American electric vehicle giant will launch an experience center at the Bandra Kurla complex in Mumbai. Massive controversy over the AI 171 probe report. DGCA yet to answer Republic's specific questions. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Live and Breaking with me, Krutat Patnaik, at 12:30 p.m. this Tuesday afternoon. The breaking news development starting this afternoon is a significant development coming in from the Allahabad High Court, which has now stayed the arrest of cricketer Yash Dayal in a case registered against him under Section 69 of the BNS, which pertains to sexual harassment, including on the false promise of marriage. The complaint was filed by a woman through the Chief Minister's online complaint portal on June 21st. In his writ petition before the High Court, Yash Dayal has now denied having any physical relationship with the woman on the pretext of marriage. Subsequently, a big relief coming in, a prevention from arrest now given by the Allahabad High Court, which has now stayed the arrest of Yash Dayal. It's a significant development that the Allahabad High Court has now stayed the arrest of cricketer Yash Dayal in the case registered against him under Section 69 of the BNS. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has also issued a notice to the Uttar Pradesh government on pleas challenging the government's directive to shopkeepers to put up QR codes on their eateries along the route of the Kavod Yatra, which could be scanned to reveal the names of the owners. The Supreme Court has posted for July 22nd hearing on the plea against the UP government's QR code directive for eateries along the Kavod Yatra route. That's the big breaking news development again coming in from the Supreme Court of India, which has now issued a notice to the Uttar Pradesh government on the pleas challenging the government's directive asking all the eateries along the route of the Kavod Yatra to display a QR code, which can then lead to the customers there to the information pertaining to the owners of that eatery. Big breaking news development coming in. The Kavod Yatra row explodes. Now the Supreme Court is seeking response from the Yogi Adityanath government within a week's time on why it has issued such a directive mandating the eateries along the Kavod Yatra route to display a QR code which can also carry all the information about the shopkeeper and the names of the owners of that shop. That's the breaking news development, the latest in terms of the Kavod Yatra challenge. Earlier, the Uttar Pradesh government, like last year, had also once again issued a directive urging all eateries to display the names of their owners in alignment to the various laws that it argued in light of customer welfare. And it said that along the Kavod Yatra route, in order to protect the religious sensibilities of the Kavod Yatris, there should be complete transparency in terms of displaying the names of the owners on shopkeepers on their shops. Now the Supreme Court is challenging and asking the Yogi Adityanath government within a week's time to respond to its query on why it has specifically asked all shopkeepers to also display a QR code which can then lead the customers to the information pertaining to the ownership of that particular shop in question. Although the opposition had moved the Supreme Court earlier also challenging this order, last year they had managed to get a stay on it as well. This year no such update has been taken so far. In pursuance to the Uttar Pradesh government's order, various governments of the NDA have also given a similar order in Madhya Pradesh, in Uttarakhand and in various neighbouring states. However, this one now in the Supreme Court of India, where the Supreme Court has issued a notice to the Yogi Adityanath government asking them to give a clarification on why particularly QR codes need to be displayed on these shops, which can lead them to the information pertaining to the ownership of the eateries and the shop owners. That's the big breaking news development that we are tracking from the Supreme Court of India as the Kavod Yatra row explodes. I'll be joined shortly by my colleague Aditya on the story, who's tracking close developments there. And Aditya is live with us. Aditya, what's the latest in terms of the Supreme Court which is hearing this matter? It has now asked the Yogi Adityanath government to give a clarification within 7 days' time.
Yes, the Supreme Court has asked the UP and the Uttarakhand government to issue or respond on the petition within 7 days. The state has although sought a time of 2 weeks, but the Supreme Court has granted 7 days to file a response on the petition.
Indeed, Aditya, and has there been any response from the opposition parties or the petitioners in this case? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've lost that line, but that's a breaking news development coming in from the Supreme Court of India. Meanwhile, in a shocking incident taking place in Patna, the dead body of an ICICI Bank manager, Abhishek Varun, was found under suspicious circumstances in the Beor jail area this morning. That's a shocking development coming in. Abhishek had attended a party with his family in the Ramakrishna Nagar on the previous night at around 10 p.m. He sent his wife and child home while he stayed back, and approximately at 1 a.m., he called his wife saying that he had met with an accident, after which his phone was switched off. Now, despite the frantic searches in the local hospitals by his family, he remained untraceable until his body was discovered earlier this morning. It's a shocking case now where his body has been found under suspicious circumstances, and the police have now begun a probe into the entire matter. It's a shocking case where an ICICI branch manager, Abhishek Varun, was found dead under suspicious circumstances in the Beor jail area this morning. Police have begun a preliminary investigation into the matter. The sequence of events is so far that Abhishek had attended a party last night with his family.
जब आए थे लोग उस समय इतना आगे तक ये लोग नहीं आ पाए। सबसे बड़ी बात है कि पटना पुलिस को कॉल डिटेल्स निकालने में सर कितना टाइम लगता है?
पहले पता चलता तो शायद बच सकती थी जान।
बिल्कुल 11 बजे दिन तक मोबाइल उनका रिंग होते रहा।
कल सुबह 11 बजे तक नहीं, उसके बाद बता रहा था कि वो 1 बजे उन्होंने कहा एक्सीडेंट हो गया, उसके बाद स्विच ऑफ हो गया फोन।
सुबह में 4:15 बजे तक उनसे बात हुई है।
सुबह में 4:30 बजे तक बात हुई।
2:30 बजे तक 2:30 बजे लास्ट कॉल बात हुआ है। उसके बाद उनसे बात नहीं हुआ है। एक मोबाइल उनका जो एप्पल का था, आईफोन, वो डेड था। सैमसंग वाला चालू था जो सुबह में रिंग होते रहा। अरे उधर
Meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, those are the developments and the reactions coming in at the moment.
हम लोग फोन किए तो क्या किया ये लोग? मेरा बच्चा को क्यों आया तुम? हाँ, कुछ नहीं। हाँ, मेरा दामाद था। कल 3 बजे रात से थाना को बुलाए। क्या किया? पुलिस वाला को बोलने के लिए क्या किया? दिमाग नहीं। मेरा दामाद को क्या किया? तुम जाके सुप्रिया को पकड़ो। आज बर्गर दिखा रहा है। आज बर्गर दिखा रहा है रे। अरे कल से क्या किया? चलो तू कल से क्यों नहीं खोजा? कल से बोलने दो नहीं खोजा। मार के फेंक दिया है। चलो यहाँ से जान मिला के मार के फेंक दिया है यहाँ। हम उसकी मासी हैं। ये मेरी बहन है, इसका दामाद है। वो
कोई दुश्मनी
कोई दुश्मनी नहीं था। क्या था जेंट्स में कोई नहीं जानता है। नहीं बात वो जेंट्स बुलाया है पार्टी में, जहर दे दिया है। यहाँ आने का कोई वजह ही नहीं है। यहाँ आने का कोई वजह ही नहीं है। कैसे आएगा वो आदमी? यहाँ मार दिया है। मार के फेंक दिया। यहाँ आने का कोई वजह नहीं है। कोई वजह नहीं है। जो पार्टी में बुलाया वही मारा है। नहीं अब कहाँ से मिलेगा?
पार्टी में कौन बुलाया था?
उसी का एक दोस्त है। कभी नहीं बात होता था। दिल्ली से भी आदमी बुला लिया था। उससे दुश्मनी था। वही सब मिल के झाड़ दे के मार दिया है। यहाँ आने का वजह ही नहीं है। पार्टी में बुला के और उसके बाद लोग कुछ पिला के यहाँ ला के फेंक दिया। जो पार्टी में बुलाया ये मौत का जिम्मेदार है।
क्या नाम है? क्या नाम है उसका?
नाम हमको नाम नहीं। नाम कुछ है। नाम नहीं पता। मेरा बेटी को पता है नाम। बेटी भी गई थी। उसको माँ बेटी को भेज दिया और उसके बाद
साजिश के तहत इसको ओवर ड्रिंक कराया गया है। साजिश के तहत इसके लोग दोस्त लोग ही दारू पिलवाए ओवर। कौन दोस्त थे?
उसका नाम
क्या नाम था उसका?
मिठू को याद, हमको याद नहीं है।
प्रकाश एक दोस्त के नाम किस नहीं?
सुप्रिया कोई पता है खाली
नाम हमको याद था, अभी नहीं याद आ रहा है। लेकिन ये लोग हमारा दामाद यहाँ के नहीं मारा है।
कहीं और मार के आपको लग रहा है?
साजिश है।
कहीं और मारा होगा यहाँ पे।
हाँ नहीं तो कंकर बाग में कोई जगह उसको कोई छूने वाला नहीं था। तो जब तक उसका गुरु का कोई आदमी को उससे दिक्कत नहीं था,
उसको ले जाओ।
मारा।
ए आयुष उसको हटाओ। उसको ले जाओ उधर।
नहीं।
अरे चीटी चोट लगेगा पीछे। अरे आराम से ईट। ईट में चोट लग जाएगा प्लीज।
हमको
आप इधर आ जाइए।
हमको यहाँ निसाफ चाहिए।
Those are the visuals coming in live from Patna, where the family is completely distraught over the dead body of an ICICI bank manager, Abhishek Varun, which was found under very suspicious circumstances near the Udaur jail area this morning. We also have reactions coming in from the police there. Those are visuals coming in live from Patna, ladies and gentlemen. Abhishek last evening had attended a party with his family in the Ramakrishna Nagar, and at around 10 p.m. he sent his wife and child back home while he stayed back, and approximately at 1 a.m. he got a call, his wife got a call rather, and where he said that he had met with an accident, after which his phone was switched off. Now the family was searching all night at various nearby hospitals as to ascertain where Abhishek was. And earlier this morning, under very suspicious circumstances inside that well, there you can see Abhishek Varun's body was found by the police. This is near the Udaur jail area in Patna this morning. Subsequently now, a massive crowd has gathered there. The family is completely distraught. They are demanding answers from the administration, yet the police are not speaking up on the matter. Meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, that was a concerning story coming from Bihar's Patna. In the neighboring state of Odisha, the state Congress president Bhaktacharan Das has called for Odisha Bandh on July 17th over the death of a Balasore student who died by self-immolation. This was a story that came from the Fakir Mohan College of Balasore. It was a government college where a female student had self-immolated herself over alleged charges against a professor of making sexual advances. The administration did not pay heed to her requests and reports that she had raised. That is the allegation. Subsequently, the female student was forced to carry out a self-immolation in protest, and she has now succumbed to her injuries after suffering huge burns. And now a massive protest has erupted in Odisha, with the Congress party in Odisha calling for an Odisha Bandh on July 17, that is 2 days from now, over the death of the student who died by self-immolation. That's the big breaking news development. My colleague Aishwarya is joining us live on the broadcast with more details on the story. Aishwarya, what's the latest in terms of the massive protest now the victim has succumbed to the injuries?
Absolutely, Krutarth. What we do know is that the entire incident has led to a huge uproar, and the political parties, the opposition of political parties are up in action against the government in the state. And what they are alleging is that there was that the action taken so far in the case is not enough. They are calling for an Odisha Bandh on 17th. That is just 2 days later. And remember, just when the post-mortem was being carried out, the Congress workers had also staged a protest outside the hospital where the post-mortem was being carried out, and the girl had suffered 95% injuries. And now these workers, the Congress workers, are also asking why the post-mortem was held at 2 a.m. at night. So there are several points that the leaders, the opposition party leaders, are raising as far as the Balasore incident is concerned. They're also raising question marks that even while the girl had lodged a complaint, and there was not one, just 2 to 4, complaints that she was raising, and yet no action was being taken. Of course, the accused in the case have now been arrested. The college principal has been suspended. But what they are saying is that this is not enough. And they are asking for judicial inquiry into the case. They are saying that unless and until their demands are met, they will continue protesting. And they have asked for an Odisha Bandh on 17th of July.
Right, Aishwarya, thank you for joining us with those details. Protests have erupted over the death of a 20-year-old student who succumbed to her burn injuries. 95% burns was what the doctors claimed, and now she's no more. Questions arise over campus safety. Now, with that, we'll move on to more breaking news that we're tracking. It's a big Republic impact on the Air India crash probe viewers, because the DGCA has finally ordered a nationwide inspection of Boeing 787 and 737 aircraft fuel switch locking systems, and this comes hours after Republic exposed the 2018 FAA advisory and questioned the aviation regulators' delay in acting on it. The DGCA has now directed full inspections of the fuel switches by July 21st, nearly 7 years after the FAA first flagged the issue. Well, it was last evening that we exposed the apathy and also the complete inaction as far as these checks are concerned. 2018 was when the FAA document clearly apprised the DGCA about these fuel switch locking systems, and it is 7 years after that advisory that now the DGCA has ordered complete checks of these fuel switch systems. In fact, Captain Ehsan Khalid is also joining us live on this broadcast. He's a veteran IAF pilot. A very good afternoon to you, Captain. Do you think that the tragedy could have been averted? Because the DGCA stands exposed completely. No action was taken for 7 long years. It is after Republic TV questioned them that they have finally woken up.
Hi, good afternoon. To put the facts in the right perspective, it's not only the DGCA, but entire civil aviation authority, including Emirates and UK, and nobody actually took any notice of this 2018 advisory of FAA. Not even Boeing took the advisory. Not even Honeywell, who is the
right, Captain. I'm sorry to cut you short, but we have some big breaking news coming in. The Supreme Court has summoned comedians Samay Raina, Nishant Sonali, Vipul, and Balraj in a case related to mocking people with disabilities. The Apex Court has ordered their personal appearance in connection with the matter. Samay Raina and the other YouTubers now have legal trouble mounting on them because the Supreme Court has summoned them to appear before the apex court personally, and this in relation to the insensitive jokes that were made on people with disabilities. Samay Raina and the other YouTubers who have been named in the case have been accused of mocking people with disabilities with insensitive jokes and remarks. Remember, the Supreme Court previously had expressed complete displeasure about this particular aspect of their show. And Samay Raina, along with the other YouTubers, are now in deep legal trouble. Supreme Court, the top court of the country, has summoned them over mocking people with disabilities. And recently, the Supreme Court had also expressed deep disquiet about the entire matter. And they had also tagged Samay Raina in the Ranveer Alabadia case over his insensitive statements, insensitive jokes, mocking people with disability. The Supreme Court has now taken these comedians to the court, and the Supreme Court has asked these comedians to appear before it personally and not send any legal representative to the court, as these YouTubers have been doing ever since the case began. Samay Raina has now been asked to appear before the court personally, and the apex court has ordered their personal appearance in connection with the matter. In fact, Riyanka is joining us live from outside the Supreme Court. Riyanka, tell us more about this case. Samay Raina and the other YouTubers have been summoned by the Supreme Court to appear personally before them over the disability jokes row.
Absolutely. Well, Deepak, we know how these YouTubers, Samay Raina and others who have been involved in this particular case, they have been under scrutiny since a very, very long time after Ranveer Alabadia also got into a controversy. Now, this is coming in after SMA Foundation reached out to the court and it spoke about these YouTubers mocking people with disability. This particular case is being heard by Justice Suryakant and Justice Joymala Bagchi is what we understand. Now, let me take you through the updates from the hearing. What the Supreme Court at this point is saying that earlier, while issuing notice on the petition, the court directed Police Commissioner Mumbai to issue notice to the comedians to ensure their appearance on the next date, and they have in fact appeared before the Supreme Court. We have shown the visuals of their appearance of Samay Raina walking inside the Supreme Court to our viewers as well. Now, on the other hand, what we also understand as per the case, Justice Suryakant says that individual misconducts which are under scrutiny will continue to be examined. Foundation has raised serious issue, something very disturbing. This is what the Supreme Court says. They are mocking the people with disability.
That's right, Riyanka. They have been mocking people with disabilities only to gain a few views on their YouTube channels. But the Supreme Court has clearly stated that these insensitive jokes on people with disabilities will not be tolerated. And with that, we'll slip into a very short break, viewers. On the other side, we'll get you more about the much-awaited splashdown of Shubhanshu Shukla. At 3 p.m. is when Dragon spacecraft will be splashing down in the Pacific Ocean of California coast. Along with that, we'll also tell you more about External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar calling on Chinese President Xi Jinping and apprising him of the recent developments in the bilateral talks. Stay tuned for more.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल ये रंग दे ये खुशबू दे ये तीखा ये कम पड़े क्या निराला MDH मसाला.
We've been very successful in settling wars. You have India, Pakistan, you have Rwanda and the Congo. That was going on for 30 years. India, by the way, and Pakistan would have been a nuclear war within another week, the way that was going. That was going very badly. And we did that through trade. I said, we're not going to talk to you about trade unless you get this thing settled. And they did. And they were both great, great leaders. And they were great.
So really, thank you. This is important.
You did a great job, and it's a really great job. We've been very successful in settling wars. You have India, Pakistan, you have Rwanda and the Congo. That was going on for 30 years. India, by the way, and Pakistan would have been a nuclear war within another week, the way that was going. That was going very badly, and we did that through trade. I said, we're not going to talk to you about trade unless you get this thing settled, and they did, and they were both great leaders.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, mass-comm, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
We are very unhappy, I am, with Russia, but we'll discuss that maybe a different day. But we're very, very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. Tariffs at about 100%. You'd call them secondary tariffs. You know what that means. It's a honor, great honor, to have a friend of mine who's become very friendly over the last number of years. We knew each other before, but Mark is the head of NATO, Mark Rutte, Secretary General of NATO. Highly respected by everybody that knows him, but in particular the European countries. They have great reliance on him.
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, और घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
We've been very successful in settling wars. You have India, Pakistan, you have Rwanda and the Congo. That was going on for 30 years. India, by the way, and Pakistan would have been a nuclear war within another week, the way that was going. That was going very badly, and we did that through trade. I said, we're not going to talk to you about trade unless you get this thing settled, and they did, and they were both great leaders, and they were great.
So really, thank you. This is important.
You did a great job, and it's a really great job. We've been very successful in settling wars. You have India, Pakistan, you have Rwanda and the Congo. That was going on for 30 years. India, by the way, and Pakistan would have been a nuclear war within another week, the way that was going. That was going very badly, and we did that through trade. I said, we're not going to talk to you about trade unless you get this thing settled, and they did, and they were both great leaders, and they were great, but Rwanda and the Congo, that was going on for 30 years, and at least 7 million people killed, and killed with a lot of pretty rough weapons like machetes, heads chopped off, going on for many years. You couldn't even get near the countries. Nobody wanted to get near. It's so frightening. And we got that one solved. Serbia, Kosovo, got that solved. That was going to be one that was going to happen. And again, that was something I use. I use trade for a lot of things, but it's great for settling wars. That was really very important. We're working, Marco is working very hard with everybody here on the Strip, the Gaza Strip. I call it the Gaza Strip, one of the worst real estate deals ever made. They gave up the oceanfront property, one of the worst deals ever made, but it was supposed to bring peace, and it didn't bring peace. It brought the opposite. But we're doing pretty well on Gaza. Steve Witkoff is here, and I think we could have something fairly soon to talk about. And we solved other one that we just seem to have, Armenia and Azerbaijan. It looks like that's going to come to a conclusion, successful conclusion. We've been very successful in settling wars. You have India, Pakistan, you have Rwanda and the Congo. That was going on for 30 years. India, by the way, in fact, would have been a nuclear war within another week, the way that was going. That was going very badly. And we did that through trade. I said, we're not going to talk to you about trade unless you get this thing settled, and they did. And they were both great leaders, and they were great. We are very unhappy, I am, with Russia, but we'll discuss that maybe a different day. But we're very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. Tariffs at about 100%. You'd call them secondary tariffs. You know what that means. It's a honor, great honor, to have a friend of mine who's become very friendly over the last number of years. We knew each other before, but Mark is the head of NATO, Mark Rutte, Secretary General of NATO. Highly respected by everybody that knows him, but in particular the European countries. They have great reliance on him, and he's done a fantastic job. And we had a tremendous meeting, I guess it's about a month ago. And I think Mark will tell you that it was really perhaps more important the date of November 5th. That was the election day. Maybe that was the most important because we've made tremendous progress together. And one of the reasons that you're here today is to hear that we are very unhappy, I am, with Russia.
The reason we've launched the Nationalist Collective is because we believe it is time now for a group of ideologically driven Indians to drive the destiny of our country. For far too long, people who have had interests inimical to national interest have held sway. We need to put nationalism first, nation first. The Nationalist Collective is a very clear and sharp movement, presents the spirit of a new India which stands by what is right, does what is right, and raises its voice for what is right. Remember, this country is safe only if it is in the hands of nationalists. This country will grow only if nation first becomes our principal motto, where the only ism that matters is nationalism. Join the Nationalist Collective. It is going to be the largest non-political movement in this country.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready to be part of a nation-first movement. Republic's Nationalist Collective is hosting a dynamic conclave on July 19th, and we are inviting passionate nationalists like you to join the conversation. Meet Arnab Goswami and engage with like-minded individuals who believe in putting the nation first. Don't miss this opportunity to be a part of a day-long discussion on shaping the future of our great nation. Secure your spot now and be a part of this moment that matters. Write to us at nationalistcollective@republicworld.com or WhatsApp at 73044343381 to reserve your seats. India's group captain Shubhanshu Shukla en route home after 18-day mission aboard International Space Station. A 20-year-old student in Balasore in Odisha succumbs to burn injuries after self-immolation over sexual harassment by the faculty member. External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar, who's in China for the SCO meeting, met with the Chinese president in Beijing. Comedian Samir Raina arrives in the Supreme Court in the matter related to mocking individuals with disabilities. After years of speculations, Tesla is all set to open its first showroom in India today. The American electric vehicle giant will launch an experience center in Bandra Kurla complex in Mumbai. Well, let's start the show with the breaking news coming in from the state of Kerala. The Kerala police has registered a case based on a complaint filed by the mother of a woman who died by suicide along with her infant daughter in Sharjah in UAE. Now, according to the FIR, we are learning that the 32-year-old Vipanjika Mani was found dead along with her 1.5-year-old daughter in Sharjah on July 8th, and the FIR now states that the incident is being treated as a case of suicide after the child murder. So there on the screen you can see that the family has claimed that this is a case of dowry death. Let me go across to my colleague Ashwin for more on this. Ashwin, tell us about this case, because we're learning that an FIR has been registered by Kerala police as far as this case is concerned. But before we get you the ground report on that, let me tell you about the case once again. The Kerala police, we are learning, has registered the case based on the complaint that was filed of the mother of the woman who died by suicide along with her daughter in UAE. Now, shifting our focus to the national capital, as far as Supreme Court is concerned, SC has asked Samir Raina, comedian Samir Raina and other influencers to file their replies to pleas seeking action against them for ridiculing the disabled person. Remember, Supreme Court had summoned Samir Raina along with other influencers. They were asked to come to the court, and after they appeared, now it seems that the Supreme Court has now asked them to file reply on the case that has been registered against them as far as mocking disabled person in their show is concerned. Just a while back, we're learning that Samir Raina appeared before the court, and now it remains to be seen when he will file his reply on the plea as far as ridiculing disabled persons is concerned. Well, there on the screen you can see Samir Raina, comedian who was in fact under the scanner. Earlier as well, he was summoned by the police in Maharashtra. He was also summoned by the National Commission of Women in another case. But as far as this case is concerned, today he appeared before the Supreme Court, and he's been asked to file a reply. Let me go across to my colleague Riyanka. Riyanka, you've been tracking this story very closely. Firstly, tell us, for the clarity of our viewers, what this case is all about and what happened in the Supreme Court today.
Well, we know that YouTuber Samir Raina, along with others, have been already facing a scrutiny regarding the comments that they have passed, especially by the SFA Foundation, which has gone out to the Supreme Court, filed a petition to take action against these YouTubers for them mocking the people with disabilities. Now, what happened today, the court had summoned these YouTubers, including Samir Raina, and they had presented themselves in front of the court. Now, what the court said, that this is a very, very serious matter that needs to be taken into consideration. The court also said that they can give more time, which is where it comes in that the court has given 2 weeks to the YouTubers to file their response to this particular petition filed by the SFA Foundation to seek action against them for mocking the people with disabilities. And after 2 weeks, we will understand what is the response coming in from the YouTubers, as well as what is the next date thereafter once the reply is filed. But at this point in time, the Supreme Court has also made a very, very clear
a message which says that this is a very serious issue. The court needs to go through the guidelines, and the freedom of speech is also coming into being at this moment. So we have to wait and see what happens next once the response comes in from the YouTubers. One of the YouTubers have been given a leave by the court to appear via video conferencing after 2 weeks, but others, including Samay Raina, will have to be deposing themselves in front of the court after 2 weeks after they file a reply.
Absolutely. So Samay Raina has been asked to file the reply as far as this case is concerned in the next 2 weeks. But Priyanka, do tell us about what SMA organization, as you pointed out, they had stated in their plea, and what action are they seeking from the Supreme Court?
Well, SMA Foundation had gone all ballistic against the comments made by the YouTubers Samay Raina and others, and this was essentially on them mocking in the people with disabilities in their shows. Remember how Ranveer Alabadia was also under controversy for making several statements previously, and since then there has been a crackdown on YouTubers and the speech and the language that they use. So SMA Foundation, they had taken into account how, mocking people with disabilities was not something very, very unserious, but yes, a very serious matter, which is when they reached out to the Supreme Court, sought legal actions against these YouTubers in order to somewhere ban the kind of content they produce, or probably an action against them for not coming in at a point when they make certain statements that are not complied with the societal norms. At this point in time, what comes into being...
In fact, Riyanka, stay on with us. We have a breaking news coming in from Maharashtra. We are learning this is as far as the Pune Porsche case is concerned. The Juvenile Justice Board has refused to try the accused as the adult, is what we are learning. And this after, in fact, what we are learning is that the police had approached the Juvenile Justice Board to try the accused in this case as adult, but that plea, we are learning by the Pune police that the CCL, that is child in conflict with law, should be tried and as an adult has been rejected by the Juvenile Justice Board. Let me go across to my colleague Shambhavi, who joins us live in the broadcast with more details. Shambhavi, tell us about this plea that was filed by the Pune police. We are learning that they wanted to try the accused as an adult, but the Juvenile Justice Board has said that no, he has to be tried as a minor. Give us more details.
Yes, the police actually filed a plea initially in this Pune Posh crash case, which happened last year in May, around 19th, where the police said that they wanted to try the accused as an adult under adult criminal laws, but the board, the Juvenile Justice Board, had now rejected and dismissed the plea and said that the accused will be continued to treated as a juvenile in this case and not as an adult under the adult criminal laws.
Absolutely, and this is what the Juvenile Justice Board has said. They have rejected the plea filed by the Pune police as far as the Pune Porsche crash case is concerned. In fact, it's been 1 year since this incident took place, since the, son of a prominent city builder crashed his Porsche into the bike, killing 2 techies. And let me go across to Executive Editor Rhythm Bhardwaj for more on this. Rhythm, we are learning that the Juvenile Justice Board has said that the accused in the Pune Porsche case will be tried as minor. Give us more details about this entire case.
This is a pity, and it's also VVIP culture once again, like we've been seeing earlier. In this case, the accused is not being treated as an adult. This is the Juvenile Justice Board, the very same board that we had raised questions on, which earlier had stated and even let him out on bail earlier. 1 year on, there's even no decision on the teen driver's trial. And now we are also getting to know details that they have refused to try him as an adult. The Juvenile Justice Board, in the very first go, it's only when the Republic campaign took on this situation, they had actually started monitoring the situation that they started looking into it. When the speeding Porsche crashed into the two-wheeler in Pune, killing the 2 techies in their 20s, the accident shocked the entire world of the families and India. This grabbed national headlines only after Republic TV took it as a Republic campaign. It emerged that the luxury car was being driven by this juvenile under the influence of alcohol. So he can have alcohol, but he will still be tried as a juvenile. The series of events followed, but everything was done to save him. But for the families, and I still remember the names of the victims, Anish and his friend Ashwini, the justice was not given. Now this is another upfront on justice that had to be given to them. He should have been tried as an adult, but this is not happening now. May 19, 2024, the Porsche driver, 17-year-old, inebriated condition, fatally knocked down the software professionals in Pune. He was detained, but he was granted bail by the same Juvenile Justice Board members, Ellen Danavade, within hours of the crash. And we remember the lenient bail terms included asking him to write a 300-word essay on road safety. The same Juvenile Justice Board today says he cannot be tried as an adult. What will India do if this is the kind of justice that is meted out to VVIP killers? It triggered a national firestorm, and I think today also this will once again create havoc, because the Bombay High Court was also looking at this. There were parallel developments. His blood samples were taken. They were replaced with the mothers to conceal the intoxication. Everything possible was done at the Sassoon General Hospital then. His parents were arrested, but everyone expressed dismay over the delay in the justice delivery system. And today the Juvenile Justice Board's treating him as a juvenile is only helping him further, because he will get away scot-free after 2 people have lost and died a tragic death.
Absolutely. And also, as you mentioned, that 1 year has passed since this incident took place, and the trial is only stretching. In fact, just a while back, the family also said that they appealed to authorities to fasten as far as the trial is concerned. Also, take us through where the trial in this case stands as of now.
The trial has not really begun. The accused have played and cheated the judicial system. They tampered with the key evidence, the blood reports. The prosecution's strong opposition, barring the mother of the juvenile, none of the accused have been able to secure bail, it was said. However, after May 19, there was a lot of questions being carried on the manner in which the Pune police had done the investigation. The police said some of his friends and he were returning home on their bikes from a hotel when the speeding Porsche, without the registration number plate, had rammed into the two-wheeler. Both of them had instantly died. Police had also said that the 17-year-old boy who was drunk was behind the wheel. His 2 minor friends and the driver were inside the vehicle at the time of the crash. Following the incident, he was detained, but he was immediately released. And I remember several questions that were put to the Pune police chief by Arnab, our editor-in-chief. Amitesh Kumar was the Pune police chief commissioner at that time. We were also told we should be suspending the cops at the Yerawada police station because there was a lot of complicity by certain officials who had visited the police station late at night. The subsequent investigation had also showed the police said the teen's father and another person, the head of the forensic science department at the hospital, got the blood samples of the juvenile, swapped with those of his mother. This is the kind of malafide, the mens rea, which is the mental ability which is shown in law, which shows the criminal intent, the mens rea that went into this crime. They changed the blood samples of the juvenile with his mother to show that he was not drunk. And even then, the Juvenile Justice Board wants to treat him not like an adult, but like a minor. There were middlemen in this case who were accused of facilitating financial transactions. Bribes were being given out. The police said the blood samples of the other 2 minors were taken. But even then, this issue of serving liquor to underage people took center stage. The 2 hotels at that time were being looked at. They were deregistered. What things were happening. However, in the end, adult or juvenile, today it is a day of shame that the Juvenile Justice Board thinks that this person is to be treated like a minor.
All right. Thank you so much, Rhythm, for all the details. We'll keep coming back to you for more on this. Let me now once again go back to my colleague Shambhavi, who's been tracking this story very closely. Shambhavi, now this accused will be treated as a minor. So does that mean that he will get off as far as the charges are concerned easier than if he was to be treated as an adult as far as this case is concerned?
Yes, definitely. There are different laws for juveniles who are treated as juveniles under the JJ Act, and for people who are treated as an adult under the adult criminal laws. And when we go back to the case, when this case was actually in the full-blown trial zone, there were a lot of inconsistencies when a very shocking incident of evidence tampered also came out when the blood sample of the accused teen, because he was drunk while he was driving his car, and two IT professionals got killed. There was alcohol in the blood, so that is why the blood sample was changed with that of his mother. So this was a huge deal, and now the Juvenile Justice Board has taken another route and said that this accused need to be tried as a juvenile and not as an adult, which is a huge drawback for the police as well.
Absolutely. And Shambhavi, also tell us about the case. Where does it stand right now?
Well, after this, because this plea was filed by the police after a lot of inconsistencies, when there was a lot of even social media backlash after the accused was asked to write a 300 words essay on why he will never repeat this again. The plea was filed by the police seeking, because this case was very serious, that this person, 17-year-old teenager, should be tried as an adult. But now, with the update, now that the Juvenile Justice Board has dismissed the plea, we are yet to see where this goes now.
Absolutely, Shambhavi. Keep tracking those details, and we'll keep coming back to you for more on this. Let's take you to another story that is coming in from the Supreme Court. In fact, Jamit has filed a plea with the Information and Broadcasting Ministry, and Jamit has filed this plea arguing a film based on the communal hatred. Jamit plea argues film promotes communal disharmony, and this is in fact related to the Udaipur files movie. Information and Broadcasting Ministry, they have requested the ministry to decide in a week. So this is as far as the plea by Jamiyat is concerned, and they have filed a plea with the Information and Broadcasting Ministry is what we are learning. And they have argued that the film is based on communal hatred, and this is related to the Udaipur Files movie, which was to release on July 11th, but there was a stay which was imposed on it just in fact day before it was to release. We'll continue to get you more details as far as this plea is concerned. But this is in fact something that has been mentioned by Jamiat Ulema Hind, President Arshad Madani on social media. He has said, and I quote, on behalf of Jamiat Ulema Hind, a petition has been filed with the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting to ban the screening of film Udaipur Files. This petition was filed in compliance with the directive from the Delhi High Court, which had imposed a temporary ban on the film's release and advised consideration of the certificate issued by the censor board. The petition, as we are learning, states that the film is based on hatred, may promote communal tensions in society, and could damage the country's image at the international level. And this is what, in fact, Jamit has said while moving this petition with the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting to ban the screening of the film Udaipur Files. As I mentioned, this movie was to be released on July 11th, but just a day before that, a stay was imposed on the screening of this movie. Now, in their social media post, Jamiat Ulema Hind has also mentioned that the ministry has been directed to decide on this petition within a week. It is likely that ministry may hold a hearing on this petition in the coming days. So now Jamit has in fact filed this petition, and they have said that there should be a ban on movie Udaipur Files as it spreads hatred, it promotes communal tensions in society, it could damage country's image at the international level as well. Let me tell you that this is a movie that was to release on July 11th. It is based on the case related to Taylor Kanaiya Lal, who was murdered 2 years back, and this entire movie is based on his life. And since then, not just Jamiat Ulema Hind, but several other Muslim organizations have also moved the court and they have sought a stay on this movie. Now, Jamiat Ulema Hind has said that they have filed a petition with the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting to ban the screening of the film Udaipur Files. They said that the movie promotes communal tensions, could damage the country's image, and it is based on hatred. And now let's have a look at the top national stories in under 2 minutes. Heavy rains in Jaipur, 14 in fact caused a major road collapse near the metro station, as you can see on the screen close to Jaipur Junction, forming deep craters underneath the structure. A scooter rider fell in that area and the traffic was rerouted.
Bharat 1 Minute brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
Well, Tesla has opened its official entry into Indian market. Tesla has launched its first showroom in India, which opened in Mumbai of Maharashtra today. The electric vehicle giant showroom is located at the Bandra Kurla complex in Mumbai. Srinagar has received light rainfall. The Indian IMD has issued a yellow alert in Srinagar for thunderstorm accompanied with lightning for today and tomorrow. The weather department has predicted that rainfall will continue until Thursday, July 17th. The recent rains have further lowered temperature in Jammu and Kashmir. St. Thomas School in Dwarka in the national capital and St. Stephen's College of Delhi University have received bomb threats via email. Delhi Police Bomb Squad, Dog Squad, Delhi Fire Brigade team and Special Staff team have made their way to St. Thomas School and St. Stephen's College. The premises of both have been evacuated and so far the police have not found anything suspicious at either of these places. And Tesla has officially made its debut in the Indian market with the launch of the first showroom at Mumbai's Bandra Kurla complex. Inaugurating the showroom, Maharashtra Chief Minister said that India will be one of the best markets for Tesla. Here's more.
Elon Musk's Tesla has finally made its long-awaited debut in India. The EV maker has opened its first showroom in Mumbai's Bandra Kurla complex. Tesla has begun its India journey with the Model Y SUV. It is offering two variants to Indian buyers, Model Y rear-wheel drive for Rs 60 lakh and Model Y long-range RWD for 68 lakh rupees. This is a major milestone for Elon Musk, entering the world's third largest car market after years of back and forth. At the showroom launch, Maharashtra Chief Minister expressed confidence that India will emerge as one of Tesla's strongest markets.
I think this is not just inauguration of an experience center, but it is a statement that Tesla has arrived, a statement that Tesla has arrived in the right city, in the right state. That is the state of Maharashtra and the city of Mumbai, which is the entrepreneur capital of India, not just financial, commercial, and entertainment capital, but also the entrepreneur capital of India. We are very happy that you are here, and I'm sure that the people of Mumbai and the people of India are going to love Tesla, and you will have one of your best market in India.
Tesla's formal entry comes after years of delays, tax talks and tweets, but the EV giant now plans to expand with more showrooms likely on the way. Tesla's first showroom is open and the race to go electric just shifted gears.
And with this, we're taking a very short break. Coming up on the other side, the Juvenile Justice Board has dismissed the plea by Pune police seeking to try the accused as adult killer brat to be tried as minor now. And India's group captain Shubhanshu Shukla is en route home after 18-day mission aboard International Space Station. This and much more on the other side. Stay with us.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
We are very unhappy, I am, with Russia, but we'll discuss that maybe a different day. But we're very, very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. Tariffs at about 100%. You'd call them secondary tariffs. You know what that means.
Big update in Pune Porsche case. The plea filed by Pune police that the child in conflict law should be tried as an adult and has been rejected by the Juvenile Justice Board. India's group captain Shubhanshu Shukla en route home after 18-day mission aboard the International Space Station. Ten-year-old student from Fakir Mohan College in Balasore succumbs to burn injuries after self-immolation. External Affairs Minister S Shankar, who is in China for the SCO meeting, meets with Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing. Influencer brat Samay Raina arrives in Supreme Court in the matter related to allegedly mocking individuals with disabilities. After years of speculation, Tesla is all set to open its first showroom in India today. The American electric vehicle giant will launch an experience center at the Bandra Kurla complex in Mumbai. Ladies and gentlemen, we start this edition with some breaking news that's coming in, and this is in regard with the Pune Porsche case where the Juvenile Justice Board has refused to try the accused as an adult. Remember, this is the same accused who earlier was given a free hand by the court telling him that he should write an essay on what mistakes that he has done and that he should be freed after that. The same accused today, we learn that the Juvenile Justice Board has refused to try him as an accused, to put a trial on him as an accused, as an adult. Just 4 months to be an adult, and this accused, the man who mowed down innocent people in Pune, has been let off as a juvenile. The big breaking news that we have coming in there from Pune. All right, I'm being joined by Suresh Kumar. He is the father of one of the victim of the Pune Porsche case. सुरेश जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका हमारे साथ बातचीत करने के लिए। बहुत ही दुखद खबर आ रही है कि जो जुवेनाइल जस्टिस बोर्ड है, उन्होंने क्लियरली बोल दिया है कि वो जो अक्यूज्ड है उसको एज अ एडल्ट नहीं, उसको एज अ जुवेनाइल ट्रायल करेंगे। आपका क्या कहना है इस बारे में?
मेरा कहना तो ये है, मैंने तो पिछले बार भी बोला है, आप लोगों के टीवी के माध्यम से भी बोला है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट को भी लिखा है, हाई कोर्ट को भी लिखा है, डिस्ट्रिक्ट जज को भी मैंने लिखा था कि जब उसके चाल चलन तौर तरीके जो है पूरे एडल्ट वाले हैं, ड्रिंक वो कर रहा है, फास्ट गाड़ी वो चला रहा है और न जाने क्या क्या कर रहा है, वो तो आप मेरे को नहीं मालूम, 2-3 चीजें तो मेरे को मालूम है। इसका मतलब साफ ये हुआ कि कोर्ट उसको माइनरों को, उसको अकेले नहीं, जितने भी माइनर है सबको दारू पीने की, ड्रिंक करने की परमिशन दे रही है। अब उसका अर्थ ये लगा, मैं तो ये लगा रहा हूँ, आप लोग क्या लगाते हैं? मतलब तो ये हुआ ना कि वो माइनर है। अब माइनर तो है नहीं, क्योंकि उसकी क्रियाकलाप कोर्ट को देखना चाहिए थे, उसने क्या किया, क्यों किया, माता पिता ने उसको कैसे पाला पोसा बड़ा किया, ये चीजें देखना चाहिए। अब कोर्ट किस आधार पर, अब आगे चल के मैं पता करूंगा कि किस आधार पर उसको एडल्ट ट्रीट नहीं कर रहे हैं, किस आधार पर उसको माइनर ट्रीट कर रहे हैं, ये पता बाद में चलेगा। आधार क्या है भाई? आधार तो उसके स्पष्ट आधार हैं कि वो एडल्ट वाले उसके कारनामे हैं।
बिल्कुल,
माइनर होके ड्रिंक कर रहा है, माइनर होके फास्ट गाड़ी चला रहा है, और मैं नहीं समझता कि उसने नशे की हालत में किया है। ये मटर गश्ती में जो गाड़ियां जो चलाते हैं हाई स्पीड पर, वो मटर गश्ती ऐसे ही नहीं होती है। जब आदमी एडल्ट हो जाता है तभी मटर गश्ती करता है, जब उसको जब शराब का सूर तब चढ़ता है वो तो करता है।
बिल्कुल,
तो मेरा ओपिनियन तो यही था कि उसको एडल्ट ट्रीट करना था। मैंने सबसे रिक्वेस्ट की हुई है।
बिल्कुल सुरेश जी, मैं समझ सकती हूँ आपकी भावनाओं को। एक और सवाल आपसे लेना चाहूंगी, क्या आपको किसी भी वक्त, किसी भी मोमेंट पे ये लगता है कि जो जुवेनाइल जस्टिस बोर्ड है वो कहीं ना कहीं वो जो अक्यूज्ड है उसको बचाने की कोशिश कर रहा है? बिकॉज जहां तक हम जानते हैं बस 4 या 5 महीने बचे थे उसके अडल्ट होने में, फिर भी उसका ट्रायल एज अ अडल्ट ना होके एज ए जुवेनाइल होना, क्या आपको लगता है ये कहीं ना कहीं एक तरीका है जुवेनाइल जस्टिस बोर्ड का एक बड़े ही इन्फ्लुएंशियल आदमी को प्रोटेक्ट करने का?
जुवेनाइल जस्टिस बोर्ड ने तो उसको उसी दिन बचाने की कोशिश शुरू कर दी थी। उसी में तो जो 2 मेंबर थे उसी में तो वो टर्मिनेट हो गए, क्या हो गए, उनको बचाने के चक्कर में। और वो ये सोच रहे हैं कि इस केस के ऊपर पूरे भारत की और पूरी दुनिया की नजरें इसके ऊपर टिकी हुई है। अब फिर जैसे किसी जज ने बोला था कि वो सोशल मीडिया में ऐसा हो गया तो ऐसा जजमेंट दे दिया, सोशल मीडिया में न्यूज के डर से ऐसा जजमेंट दे दिया, इसलिए उसको जेल में मतलब जुवेनाइल होम में उसको रखा गया इसी के डर से। तो जज जो होता है उसको तो निष्पक्ष देना चाहिए ना कि वो क्या, उसके क्या तौर तरीके थे, उस बेस पर उसको फोकस करना था
जी।
अब जज लोगों को तो मैं सलाह दे नहीं सकता ना, मैं तो अपना ओपिनियन दे सकता हूँ।
बिल्कुल जी बिल्कुल सुरेश कुमार जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका हमारे साथ बातचीत करने के लिए. In fact, we are also being joined by Prashant Patil. He is the defense lawyer in the case. Prashant Patil ji, on what basis has this accused been told? All right, we seem to have lost that connection with the defense lawyer, but we're trying to get back with him on the phone line. But remember, this is a grave violation of justice as far as the case, the Pune Porsche case is concerned. The same accused who drank openly in public was not held as a minor then. But however, when it comes to providing justice to the innocent families that he mowed down under the wheels of his luxurious car, he is now told that he will not be trialed as an accused but as a minor. This, however, has come as a grave injustice. Meanwhile, we also have Prashant Patil. He is a defense lawyer in the case. Prashant Patil ji, on what basis has this accused been said that the trial will be under him as a juvenile and not as an adult?
See, we are all bound by the rule of law. There are certain guidelines laid down by the Honorable Supreme Court, and we cannot go contrary to the guidelines and the judgments of the Honorable Supreme Court because that will be held in contempt. First of all, he is not an accused, he is a child in conflict in law. There are certain allegations made against him. We as defense submitted the law today as it stands by the Honorable Supreme Court in another judgment of Mittal versus State, wherein the Honorable Supreme Court has clearly defined what is the definition of heinous offense, quote unquote. The parameters and the allegations of this matter do not fall within the definition of heinous offense.
Sir, what allegations are you talking about? There are videos that clearly point out how it was his car. He comes out of the car, he mows down innocent people, he's seen drinking at the bar. All of these have been connected, all these dots have been connected. So what basically are the allegations that you have been talking about?
At the cost of repetition, this is not a courtroom trial. At a phono, I cannot talk about the evidence wherein the matter is sub judice before the court because I'm not permitted to do so under the Advocates Act. All that I can tell you is everything was argued at length by the prosecution and also by the defense side. It is a judgment which has come based on the guidelines of the Honorable Supreme Court. The law has been defined, and as a society, we are all bound by the rule of law. Within the parameters of the rule of law, this argument was laid down. I still do not have the copy of the judgment of the Honorable JJB. Once it reaches to me, maybe I'll be able to talk on it.
Absolutely. Prashant Patil, one last question before I let you go. What is the way forward now that you're looking forward to take this case? Because we just spoke to one of the family of the victim, Suresh Kumar. He was the father of the victim. He says that he will approach the higher courts in this regard because this is now how justice is to be served, because it was not the fault of those innocent people on whom the car ran upon. How are you thinking about taking this case forward?
I will be able to only comment on it once I read the judgment copy. And obviously, it is the right of the victim's father to approach the higher courts. However, once the judgment copy comes in my hand, I'll be able to comment upon it.
Prashant Patil, but don't you think this is also an obstruction of justice?
By whom? Once there's an order of the court, how can we say it's an obstruction of justice? We'll have to all adhere to the orders of the court, right?
All right, Prashant Patil, thank you very much for speaking to Republic. It seemed all eyes are now on where the case is going to go. Remember, like we were just pointing out on how this accused, who is a minor, had been let off in the past as well by court giving him an option to write an essay on the mistakes that he had done after he mowed down 2 people in Pune, his luxurious vehicle that had mowed down 2 innocent people. Today, we learned that the Juvenile Justice Board has said that he will not be under trial as an adult accused, but will be under trial as a minor. Remember, in the Pune Porsche case, the Bombay High Court had quashed the Juvenile Justice Board's order sending the 17-year-old accused to an observation home despite him being on bail. The court ruled that the JGB acted beyond its jurisdiction by detaining the boy after granting him bail, terming the remand orders illegal and mechanical. It clarified that under the Juvenile Justice Act, once the bail is granted, a child cannot be confined to an observation home in the name of rehabilitation unless the bail is cancelled. The High Court allowed the habeas corpus petition filed by the boy's aunt and ordered his immediate release. The question now essentially being that why did the Juvenile Justice Board act beyond its jurisdiction? That's the big breaking news that we have in this edition. Obstruction of justice are the key questions that are being raised as far as the Pune Porsche case is concerned. Shambhavi is joining me live from the newsroom on that. Shambhavi, it is a complete obstruction of justice for sure. This is what the victim's father has also been alleging. How do you think the case is going to move forward after the Juvenile Justice Board has said that the trial will be under him being a juvenile and not as an accused? What is the way forward now for the accused?
Well, now that the JJB has dismissed police's plea that the accused should be treated as an adult because he was around 17 years and a few months when this accident actually happened. Now that the JJB has given this order, of course, he'll be tried as a juvenile. And it is very important to understand that the juvenile justice system in our country is reformative and not punitive. Reformation is their main aim when they're dealing with people under 18 years of age. Unlike the adult criminal system, which is mostly punitive.
All right, Shambhavi, thank you very much for getting us those details. We'll quickly have to move forward to the other breaking news that we're getting in. This is in regard with the Nimisha Priya death sentence row, where we now learn that Nimisha Priya's execution has been postponed. And this is via sources. Now on sources, in the case of Nimisha Priya, it has been learned that the local authorities in Yemen have postponed the execution that was scheduled for 16th of July 2025. Now the government of India, which has since then be beginning the case, been rendering all possible assistance in the matter, has made concentrated efforts in the recent days to seek more time for the family of Nimisha Priya to reach a mutually agreeable situation with the other party. Despite the sensitivities involved, the Indian officials have been in regular touch with the local jail authorities and the prosecutor's office, leading to securing this postponement. So big breaking news that's coming in, a slight relief for Nimisha Priya and her family. The execution has now been postponed. The Yemen officials and the authorities have delayed the execution of the Kerala nurse Nimisha Priya. She was to be executed tomorrow. However, that decision has now been overturned, and on Government of India sources, we learned that in the case of Nimisha Priya, it has been learned that the local authorities in Yemen have postponed the execution that was scheduled for 16th of July, that is tomorrow. The Government of India, which has since then been beginning the case of possible rendering assistance in the matter, they have been applying through various channels on what could have been done, because remember, this is a case about where a Indian nurse has been executed in Yemen. So this completely falls in the domain of the Yemen authorities, and India could not have likely done much more in the case. However, they were trying through various channels on how the execution could be postponed. A hearing was underway yesterday in the Supreme Court as well. And today, the big breaking news that we have is that the Government of India, which has since the beginning of the case been rendering all possible assistance in the matter, has made concentrated efforts in recent days to seek more time for the family of Nimisha Priya, the Kerala nurse who was to be executed tomorrow, to reach a mutually agreeable solution with the other parties. So, Soumya, my colleague, is joining me live from the Republic newsroom on that note. Soumya, by what means did the decision overturned? By what means was the execution of the Kerala nurse delayed by the Yemen authorities?
Well, see, Tanisha, as far as the Nimisha Priya's case and the execution that was all set to take place tomorrow, which is 16th of July, is concerned, constant efforts were being made not just by the Government of India and the Nimisha Priya Council, along with the vested stakeholders, right from the lawyers to the negotiators who are present there in Yemen. With that, yesterday, we also had the Grand Mufti of Kerala also intervening in the case and making an appointment with the family and the locals of the tribes and arranging a meeting with the victim's family, which helped in these latest development with regards to postponing the Nimisha Priya's execution that is all set to take place tomorrow. So yeah, just today 10 a.m. Yemeni time, there was this meeting that took place with
the victim's family, Talal Abdo Mehdi's family, and with the negotiators and Nimisha Priya's mother with regards to the agreement, or we called blood money or diya. So this helped in the postponement of execution that was initially all set to take place tomorrow, 16th of July.
Right. Soumya, also take us through what is the way forward as far as Nimisha Priya's case is concerned. How will the Indian authorities now take it up, since the Supreme Court hearing has also been postponed, and the matter is going to come up this Friday? How is India now looking to take this forward with the Yemen authorities?
See, with regards to the process of execution in Yemen, the whole process is very difficult. So the negotiators, all the vested stakeholders, were initially trying to postpone the execution of Nimisha Priya so that they could buy more time, which could facilitate more discussions with the victim's family, because in Nimisha Priya's case only two things could have worked: intervention of the government of India, and we saw how it helped today, which led to the postponement of the execution of Nimisha Priya. Now the next step forward will be getting on table the family, the victim's family, which also happened today at 10 a.m. Yemeni time. So from here we can expect more such discussions, which can possibly lead to the family in eventually agreeing to the blood money, which could all in all help Nimisha Priya from the execution.
Absolutely. Soumya, thank you very much for getting us those details. Last minute meetings being held in Yemen, and this is regarding the execution of Nimisha Priya, which has now been postponed. We quickly move forward to the other breaking news that's coming in, and this is regard with the Kawad Yatra, where Supreme Court has now issued notice to the Uttar Pradesh government on plea challenging the government's directive to shopkeepers to put up a QR code at the eateries along the route of Kawad Yatra, which could be scanned to reveal the names of the owners. Now, the Supreme Court has posted for July 22 the hearing on plea against the UP government's QR code directive for eateries along the Kawad Yatra route. A very, very key hearing that will come up in the Supreme Court on the 22nd of this month. And the Supreme Court, remember, has already given a 1 week time for the Yogi government to file a response, and this is in regard with the QR code display order regarding the Kawad Yatra route. This had earlier created a huge political storm with the Samajwadi Party and the other opposition members claiming that it is a divisive decision that the Yogi government has taken. However, the Yogi government stood on their heels. They dug in their heels, saying that the directive has been taken keeping in mind the yatris who are going on in the Kawad Yatra route. Aditya, my colleague, is joining me live from outside the Supreme Court. Aditya, what are the key observations that the Supreme Court has made, other than giving the Yogi Adityanath government a week's time on filing reply as far as the QR code order directive is concerned?
Yeah, the first one is the petitioner has sought from the government that whether the government has some sort of mechanism in place regarding these kind of situations. Now, the UP government will file a response before the Supreme Court answering the question regarding whether the Uttar Pradesh government or the Uttarakhand government has a certain mechanism in place to check or to seek these kind of QR mandates to be followed by the vendors in the Kawad Yatra.
Absolutely. Thank you, Aditya, for getting us those details. We move forward to some other breaking news that's coming in, and this is in regard with an influencer who had nearly 80K followers who has been arrested and on the charges of smuggling of drugs. This is from Rajasthan, where the police arrested a social media influencer, Bhavika Chaudhary, for trafficking drugs from Barmer in Rajasthan to Gujarat. The police seized 152 grams of drugs from the accused while she was travelling in a roadways bus near Siwada police station in Jalore. The 83K follower Instagram influencer was caught during a targeted operation and is now under custody as investigation continue into the drug supply network. We're trying to get in more details from Akhil, but this is the influencer that you see on your screen. She's from Rajasthan, and She was held responsible for trafficking drugs. Nearly 83,000 followers on Instagram has now been caught by the Rajasthan police. The visual on your screen of the influencer who has been caught for smuggling drug. Akhil, my colleague, is joining me live from the national capital on that story. Akhil, what more updates do we have as far as this influencer is concerned? Is there any foreign funding link that's coming to the fore, keeping in mind that the smuggling of drug was happening from one state to the other as well?
Well, absolutely. If you see in a major crackdown on drug smuggling syndicates, Chintawala police has arrested social media influencer Bhavika Chaudhary, and she has been identified as a person who was basically carrying drugs from Jalore district of Rajasthan towards Gujarat. So at this point in time, there was a seizure which has been made by the Jalore police, in which they have seized 152 grams of MD from her possession. So right now, if you see, if you just talk about the profile of the influencer, she has got 83,000 followers in Instagram, and the drugs which she was supplying from one state to another state, which include MD, which is a methadone drug, which is a banned drug under the Narcotics Drugs Psychopatric Substance Act, NDPS Act. So at this point in time, she is in the custody of the Jalore police right now, and the investigation is going on in this matter.
Absolutely, Akhil. Thank you very much for getting us those details. Big breaking news there that's coming in from Rajasthan influencer with 83,000 followers arrested for smuggling drugs. The police, she's now under police net. Foreign funding angle and other angles are also being probed by the police. Moving on to some other stories that we're tracking, Tesla has officially made its debut in the Indian market with the launch of its first showroom at the Mumbai's Bandra Kurla complex. Inaugurating the showroom was Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, who said that India will be one of the best markets for Tesla. Here's a report on that.
Elon Musk's Tesla has finally made its long-awaited debut in India. The EV maker has opened its first showroom in Mumbai's Bandra Kurla complex. Tesla has begun its India journey with the Model Y SUV. It is offering two variants to Indian buyers, Model Y rear-wheel drive for ₹60 lakh and Model Y long-range RWD for 68 lakh rupees. This is a major milestone for Elon Musk, entering the world's third largest car market after years of back and forth. At the showroom launch, Maharashtra Chief Minister expressed confidence that India will emerge as one of Tesla's strongest markets.
I think this is not just inauguration of an experience center, but it is a statement that Tesla has arrived, a statement that Tesla has arrived in the right city, in the right state. That is the state of Maharashtra and the city of Mumbai, which is the entrepreneur capital of India, not just financial, commercial and entertainment capital, but also the entrepreneur capital of India. We are very happy that you are here, and I'm sure that the people of Mumbai and the people of India are going to love Tesla, and you will have one of your best market in India.
Tesla's formal entry comes after years of delays, tax talks, and tweets, but the EV giant now plans to expand with more showrooms likely on the way. Tesla's first showroom is open, and the race to go electric just shifted gears.
Time for us to now step into a short break. After the break, getting you all the details of how the Juvenile Justice Board has dismissed Pune police plea seeking to try accused as an adult. Killer brat now to be tried as a minor. And yes, big build-up to the splashdown moment at 3 p.m. today, where Subhanshu Shukla, along with his other crew members of the AX4, will be splashing down at the California coast.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, mass comm, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला.
We've been very successful in settling wars. You have India, Pakistan, you have Rwanda and the Congo. That was going on for 30 years. India, by the way, and Pakistan would have been a nuclear war within another week, the way that was going. That was going very badly. And we did that through trade. I said, we're not going to talk to you about trade unless you get this thing settled. And they did. And they were both great, great leaders. And they were great.
So really, thank you. This is important.
You did a great job. And it's a really great job. We've been very successful in settling wars. You have India, Pakistan, you have Rwanda and the Congo. That was going on for 30 years. India, by the way, and Pakistan would have been a nuclear war within another week, the way that was going. That was going very badly. And we did that through trade. I said, we're not going to talk to you about trade unless you get this thing settled. And they did. And they were both great, great leaders. And they were great. But Rwanda and the Congo, that was going on for 30 years. And
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, और घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा.
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं. रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड.
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग शिप भी बन सकती है.
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का.
MDH की देगी मिर्च.
we are very unhappy, I am, with Russia. But we'll discuss that maybe a different day. But we're very, very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. Tariffs at about 100%. You'd call them secondary tariffs. You know what that means. It's a honor, great honor, to have a friend of mine who's become very friendly over the last number of years. We knew each other before, but Mark is the head of NATO, Mark Rutte, Secretary General of NATO, highly respected by everybody that knows him, but in particular the European countries. They have great reliance on him, and he's done a fantastic job. And we had a tremendous meeting.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Live and Breaking at 2 p.m. I am Tanisha Avasthi, and yes, it's less than 1 hour to go for the historic moment that all of us have been waiting for. 1.4 billion Indians waiting for bated breath for the AX4 crew members to splash down at the California coast. We're getting you that and a lot more on this edition. But first, a quick check of the headlines. Juvenile Justice Board dismisses Pune police plea seeking to try accused as an adult killer brat to be tried as a minor now. Supreme Court issues notice to Uttar Pradesh government over QR code diktat to eateries along the Kawar Yatra route to reveal their identities. As per sources, local authorities in Yemen have postponed the execution of Kerala nurse Nimisha Priya. India's group captain Shivanshu Shukla en route home after 18-day mission aboard the International Space Station. A 20-year-old student from Fakir Mohan College in Balasore succumbs to burn injuries after self-immolation over alleged sexual harassment by a faculty member. Comedian Samir Raina arrives in the Supreme Court in the matter related to allegedly mocking individuals with disabilities. We start this edition with a big breaking news coming in, and this is in regard with the death sentence and the execution of Nimisha Priya, the Kerala nurse who was sentenced to death in Yemen. Now, sources say that her execution that was all slated to take place tomorrow has now been postponed. The government of India sources saying that Nimisha Priya's execution has been postponed and it will not happen tomorrow. Now, the sources also say that in the case of Nimisha Priya, it has been learned that the local authorities in Yemen have postponed the execution scheduled for July 16, 2025, that is tomorrow. Government of India, which has since the beginning of the case has been rendering all possible assistance in the matter, has made concerted efforts in recent days to seek more time for the family of Ms. Nimisha Priya to reach a mutual agreeable solution with the other party. Senior Executive Editor Abhishek Kapoor joining us from the newsroom on that note. Abhishek, there were various channels via which the Indian government was in touch with the Yemen authorities. However, what exactly led to the move where her execution has now been postponed?
Well, you know, there was work going on at multiple levels, at multiple connection points in Yemeni government, establishment and the society to make sure that somehow, the decision to execute her can be delayed, at least postponed, which has now happened. And then, of course, now attempt would be made to really get her out of this death row. Now, the point is that while our diplomats were working from the time that this case came out a couple of years back, there was an outreach made socially also. So the Grand Mufti of Kerala, AP Abu Bakar Musaliar, and he's someone who's really respected a lot in Kerala. And then, of course, he has some personal connections in Yemen. He leveraged those connections, we are told, and reached out to the Yemen Shura Council, and those connections really led to a dialogue opening up with the family of the deceased. Remember, this is a very complex tribal society, and tribal councils really decide what has to happen, and the death row was given by those one of those tribal councils, and the secular court, so to say, had limited say in it. But subsequently, when the government of India and the Ministry of External Affairs really got involved, diplomatic push was given to engage at all levels. And then the whole matter came down to whether blood money can be accepted, because in many of these Arab and Middle East tribal societies, that option is always there. It just needs to be pushed or exercised. A lot of intense negotiations had happened on what amount of blood money would justify getting Nimisha Priya, the nurse from Kerala, off the hook so far as the death row is concerned. And it seems that some movement forward has happened in the last 24 hours alone is what we are getting to hear from our sources, because remember, just yesterday there was this hearing in the Supreme Court in which the government led by AGI had the Attorney General of India had made it clear that as of now there is very limited scope of intervention. Whatever is happening in the informal domain. If the deceased family, for whatever amount of blood money they agree, if they agree to it, then maybe Nimisha Priya can see another day, because her execution was slated for July 16, which is tomorrow. The Supreme Court had kept the hearing on July 18th. Which obviously means that the court also was perhaps helpless. Now with this development coming in, we are getting to hear from our sources in the government that at multiple levels, a final push was made in the last 24 hours, with the diplomats really stepping up their engagement. They had never stopped or pulled back, but they stepped up their engagement in the last 24 hours. And of course, the parallel informal channel of communication that was opened through the Grand Mufti of Kerala, AP Abu Bakr Musaliar and Tanisha, that's what we are getting to hear, that both the things came together and the channel of communication opened. In fact, as we speak, the dialogue is still going on. Nothing is final. It's just that for the time being, with no specific further date, the execution of Nimisha Priya, which was slated for July 16, which is tomorrow, has been postponed.
Absolutely. Abhishek, please stay on with us. We're also being joined by Chandrakala, who's reporting live from the national capital. Chandrakala, have you spoken to the family? What are they saying regarding the postponement of the execution of Nimisha Priya?
Well, the latest news, of course, is that the Save Nimisha Priya Council, the International Save Nimisha Priya Council, has met the Grand Mufti, of course, in Kerala, and he has made an intervention for which currently talks are underway, and also talks are underway. A close relative of the family is also attending the talks there in Yemen, and all efforts are on to negotiate with the blood money for the matter. Is that and they have requested for postponing the execution date, and all diplomatic channels, as we know that India has certain limitations because we don't have any diplomatic relations with Yemeni capital where the Houthi-led administration is there, and we don't have, so there are certain limitations. The Supreme Court has made it clear that whatever could have been possible, it has been done right at this moment. But yes, the Grand Mufti has initiated talks, and it's following his intervention. The talks are taking place positively on this matter, and we hope that she could be saved from the execution.
Absolutely. Chandrakala, stay with me. I'm also being joined by Ashwin, reporting from Thiruvananthapuram on that. Ashwin, you've been tracking this story very closely. Does blood money still stay as an option? And will there be any chances that the execution of the Kerala nurse, Nimisha Priya, can completely be overturned?
It certainly points to in that direction, because we see the India's soft power. In fact, the spiritual power is being used this time. AP Abu Bakr Musaliar, who's very well known in Kerala, he's a Grand Mufti, he's a 10th Grand Mufti of a Sunni group. And certainly he has some kind of sway within a particular community in Yemen, and that has made a drastic difference. In fact, after his intervention, it has been stated that the council in Yemen has decided to rehear the matter on July 18th. And certainly this is another 2 days that has been extended for Nimisha Priya, who has been convicted for murdering one of the Yemen native in 2017, and this murder conviction was confirmed in 2020. Ever since then, there was an International Action Council which was formed with the support of many Christian pastors as well as many people who came together, in fact trying to save Nimisha Priya from being hung. That all delayed, and certainly even with the MEA intervention also there was only a bleak chance. But after AP Abu Bakr Musaliar coming into picture, the head, the Grand Mufti, the 10th Grand Mufti, in fact after that there seems to be some kind of a movement in that direction, and that is what we are getting to hear. In fact, Abu Bakr is popularly known as Kantapuram. He is a secretary of All India Jamaatul Sunni group, and certainly he seems to have some kind of sway within the Yemenis community. Remember, this has been going on for some time. In fact, ever since 2020, there has been a massive effort trying to bring back Nimisha, because even the offering of blood money close to almost 30 crores in Indian rupees was offered. Even that was denied by the family. But now with the spiritual leader from India
Ashwin,
trying to intervene, certainly it looks like...
Absolutely, Ashwin. I'm sorry I have to cut you short on that note, because we're getting in live visuals from the NASA Space Center, which, remember, is counting down, and the whole world is counting down to the splashdown moment that the Axiom 4 crew will be at the California coast. That's the... All right, that's the screen that we have from NASA. In just some moments from now is when...
As test pilot is Shooks. Shooks represents the Indian Space Research Organization, or ISRO. And he's also an astronaut designate of India's inaugural human spaceflight effort, Gaganyaan, an Indian-built rocket and spacecraft. He was commissioned into the Indian Air Force Fighter Wing in 2006. He then achieved the rank of Group Captain in 2024 and has over 2,000 hours of flight experience aboard aircraft, including the Sukhoi 30 MKI, MiG-29, Jaguar, Hawk, and Antonov On-32. Pretty impressive resume.
And our third crew member is Mission Specialist Sławomir Uznański-Wiśniewski of Poland. He is representing the European Space Agency as a project astronaut coming from the reserve class of 2022, much like Marcus Wand, who served as a mission specialist on AX-3. A scientist by trade, Sławomir has earned his master's degree of science with honors from Łódź University of Technology in 2008, Master of Science from Université de Nantes, and a graduate engineering diploma from Polytech Nantes in the same year. He also spent 2 years as the engineer in charge of the world-famous Large Hadron Collider in Switzerland beginning in 2018.
And rounding out this crew, mission specialist Tibor Kapu of Hungary represents the Hungarian to Orbit astronaut program, also known as HUNOR. The program aims to send Hungarian astronauts to the International Space Station for scientific research and technological development, as well as to inspire young people. He graduated from the Budapest University of Technology and Economics, earning a degree in mechanical engineering, followed by a master's degree specializing in polymer technologies. In 2023, Tibor emerged as one of 4 Hungarians selected from a pool of 247 candidates for the HUNOR astronaut program. He has invested a notable amount of time in his career focused on space radiation protection while awaiting his acceptance to HUNOR.
What an incredible crew. Together, they are the crew of AX-4, Axiom Space's 4th private astronaut mission to the International Space Station. This mission represents the return of spaceflight for 3 nations, but it also highlights the growing opportunities for nations and entities around the world to conduct meaningful work in low Earth orbit. And we are, again, if you're just now joining us, the deorbit burn has begun for the crew, and this deorbit burn lasts just under 18 minutes. So we still have about 10 more minutes to go in this burn, and we are patiently waiting for that burn to conclude.
Exactly right. And at the end of that burn, like we mentioned earlier, if you're just now joining us, we'll move into claw separation and trunk jettison before we move into nose cone closure and then parachute deploy. So we've got a few dynamic operations that are coming back to back, coming up here shortly. But, you know, Jesse, we were talking a little bit about that crew. I had the pleasure of meeting them a little bit before the mission, and you can really tell that this crew has taken it upon themselves to really make sure that a priority of this mission is outreach. They really want to ensure that who they are representing, the people that they're representing, are getting an opportunity to come aboard with them. And understand why they're up there, understand why they're going on missions like AX-4, why AX-4 is a mission that needs to exist to further everything. And I know that STEM outreach is something that you find pretty fascinating yourself, right?
Yes, John, you already know that. I love outreach. I think it's super important. There's so much technology emerging and growing and advancing, and I think it's super important for the young people to get interested in it while they're young, so they can further explore that interest when they do get older and when they can, go to school or go into a professional field. So I think it's great that this crew specifically did multiple outreach events during this mission.
Over 20, I think you said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, too, where for a lot of times, this may be these kids' first times getting to understand, like, what goes on the International Space Station? What kind of things can we research in space? You know, I know one thing that kind of resonated with me is, you know, when I got to meet Sławomir, Suave, as he's known by some, especially the crew.
Appropriately.
His background in microelectronics, right? He's carrying that on his research here today to understand how does space radiation, which is a huge problem to solve, right, for long endurance, for long-term, long-duration spaceflight missions, how are we going to solve the problem of space radiation? And not just for humans, but for electronics. And so for this particular mission, they were, and we'll cover a little bit of this later too, but they were flying some experiments to assess, like, how can we better protect these in orbit? So I think Suave, Tibor, their backgrounds really help kids understand how can I tie my research to the practicalities and understanding of how do we live and work in space.
Yeah. And honestly, this is what we do all of this for. This is what Axiom 4 is for, and other missions have been for, is to do that research. I think a lot of people don't realize astronauts are scientists.
They are. They are.
Doing a lot of experiments.
Exactly. First and foremost, the reason we're up there is to understand how are we going to keep doing this? How can we keep doing this? So every mission that we work together, we learn from each other. Every mission that this crew goes on, from AX1 up through AX4 now, we all build on the last mission before it. We've been doing it for years. We're going to continue to be doing this as well.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting to see them put that emphasis on not just the research, but also the outreach to get the next generation of people to do the next missions.
Yeah, I love it. If you're just now joining us, again, there is a clock in the middle of your screen where you can follow along with the timeline of the mission all the way towards splashdown today. And also in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, there's a little graphic showing Dragon and its thrusters firing. So while we are not showing some live views at this moment, you can kind of see which thrusters are firing, and there's a lot going on. So Dragon is very active right now, but love this new graphic that we have. Really cool to be able to kind of see. You might not be able to always see it live, and when we do see it live, I love you can actually see the little bursts of thrust. But in case we don't have any live views, you guys can follow along with that graphic in the bottom right corner. And speaking of live views, excellent inside of Dragon with our commander and pilot there. That is at the front of your screen is Commander Peggy Whitson.
And if you're looking right past Peggy Whitson as well, you can see our pilot Shubhanshu Shukla interacting with Dragon's controls there right now. But as you mentioned, Jesse, Dragon is a fully autonomous vehicle on this way home. So kind of tying back to one of the things you mentioned earlier, being able to see the thrusters firing like that, really highlights a good point. When we don't have direct camera feeds like what we just saw, we still get vehicle insight. We still get spacecraft insight. When we talked earlier about what the mission control centers are for, that allows us to get telemetry to that vehicle for ground crews to understand what is the vehicle doing, and allows us to share it with everybody here to get insights of the mission.
Yeah, very cool. And it is, I love these live views.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to believe that it's been 5 years since Dragon radically changed how humanity gets to space. After the space shuttle program ended in 2011, NASA astronauts primarily used the Russian Soyuz spacecraft to travel to and from the International Space Station. From 2011 to 2020, the Soyuz was the only human-capable launch vehicle available, and in December of 2010, Dragon became the first commercially built and operated spacecraft to be recovered successfully from orbit. And that mission, known as COTS-1, was the first demonstration flight for NASA's Commercial Orbital Transportation Services, or COTS program. And the purpose of COTS was to develop and demonstrate commercial sources for cargo resupply of the International Space Station. Now, fun fact, the Dragon that flew on this historic mission is currently actually hanging behind John and I in front of SpaceX Mission Control Hawthorne. And just 10 years later, in May of 2020, Demo 2 launched astronauts from U.S. soil for the first time in nearly a decade. Demo 2 was Dragon's first human spaceflight mission. The spacecraft, named Endeavour, carried NASA astronauts Doug Hurley and Bob Behnken to the International Space Station in the first orbital human spaceflight launch from the United States since the final space shuttle mission in 2011, and the first ever operated by a commercial provider. And I remember that day very well. One of the most exciting missions, probably my favorite mission of all time, really.
Yeah, and another fun fact about Endeavour too, that was the first mission for AX1.
Oh,
that was the Dragon they flew on AX1. Exactly.
And this is a really cool view. I mentioned the graphic in the bottom right-hand corner, but you could actually see a similar graphic for the crew on board on their displays there.
Exactly right. I mean, for crew situational awareness, it's incredibly important to, even though you may not be commanding the vehicle yourself, even though it may be an autonomous flyer, having the insight to your vehicle systems is incredibly important for all crew members, let alone the pilot and the commander. So our commander, Peggy Whitson, and our pilot, Shubhanshu Shukla, are maintaining close situational awareness on the vehicle systems there, like we saw a minute ago, being able to watch thruster firings, understand where they are kind of on their mission home.
Yeah, and they are sitting inside of Dragon. They're strapped into their seats, so they can't really see what's going on the outside, but they can hear the sound of the thrusters firing. It may sound a little bit different to them than here on Earth, but it also helps them, as they're monitoring, helps them understand what's happening, what those sounds mean. So again, that they have the full awareness of everything that's happening with the spacecraft.
Exactly.
Now, alongside the NASA missions, Dragon has also flown several private missions to orbit. In September of 2021, on the Inspiration 4 mission, Dragon became the first private spacecraft to take an all-civilian crew to orbit. And the following year, Dragon flew Axiom Mission 1, the first all-private astronaut mission to the International Space Station in collaboration with Axiom Space. Now, the first of now 4 flights together with Axiom Space to take commercial crews from around the world to the International Space Station. In September of 2024, the Polaris Dawn mission delivered the first commercial spacewalk. And most recently in March, Dragon supported the From-2 and NASA Crew 10 missions. AX-4 is Dragon's second human spaceflight mission to splash down off the coast of California after From-2 returned Dragon recovery operations to the West Coast just this past April. And from that first crew mission in May of 2020 to Axiom 4 today, Dragon has supported 18 human spaceflight missions and flown 70 crew members representing 20 countries. Overall, Dragon has flown 53 missions, carrying over 300,000 pounds of cargo to space. In the history of human spaceflight, fewer than 700 people have ever been to orbit. At SpaceX, we want to help create a future where not just hundreds of people, but thousands and ultimately millions of people can travel off Earth to live and work in space and on other planets.
Yeah, you know, Jesse, you mentioned basically all that lineage of the Dragon spacecraft, and it's sometimes easy to get lost in the numbers. But it really does highlight how we've built, the same as what we were talking earlier for building on missions, right? We built to get where we are as a space industry with the Dragon flying, and it's allowed us to provide missions like X1 up through X4 together, like you mentioned, but collaboratively. And each of us, it allows each of us to play a role in these missions supporting. And so I always really love the teamwork aspect of this commercial spaceflight endeavor, and I think what you just mentioned there really highlights that.
Yeah, and just the exponential growth. It's only been 5 years since SpaceX has been a part of this in history. And it's really cool to see how much we've been able to do.
Exactly.
And we are about 30 seconds or so away from the expected ending of the deorbit burn, so we should be potentially hearing that call out, but if we don't hear the call out on the nets, we will confirm when that deorbit burn is complete.
Exactly. And like we mentioned earlier, while we're waiting on those calls, we're still able to view some of the telemetry and insight to the vehicle that we have too. So once we kind of get some awareness that the vehicle is done doing its deorbit burn, we should shortly hear a call after that. But at that point, it's a good reminder that those calls, the telemetry, it serves as an operational synchronization point for all of us to kind of say, a major dynamic operation has just happened. Now, how are we going to regain the situational awareness to say, okay, everybody's back on the same page so we can continue executing all of the flight procedures that we have. So.
Yeah, exactly. And we are awaiting the conclusion of the deorbit burn.
And again, after that deorbit burn ends, we'll move into claw separation, trunk separation, or trunk jettison rather, and then we'll move into nose cone closure for the rest of the mission.
Yeah. We are just in the beginning of the multiple dynamic events that we have left to bring the AX-4 crew safely back home to planet Earth.
Exactly.
And we do have our recovery ship Shannon waiting patiently in the Pacific Ocean. We do have a targeted splashdown zone, so the crew aboard the recovery vessel is there waiting, and once they splash down into the water, we'll send a couple fast boats, and then the recovery ship vessel Shannon, will meet the crew, lift the Dragon spacecraft on board to the ship, help the crew get out of Dragon, and then they'll eventually do some medical checks, make sure that they're all good.
Exactly right.
Board a helicopter and take them back to land.
Exactly right. I mean, like that is still a part of the very dynamic operations. And SpaceX and Axiom are both providing crew on the ground to provide in that work. So we have the retrieval of the crew and our Axiom.
Dragon, SpaceX, deorbit burn complete and performance nominal. Trunk separation initiated.
Awesome. Great news. We heard that call out. That the deorbit burn has completed, which is great news. We're moving on to the next events. So at the moment, Dragon is doing a couple of things autonomously. It's isolating the thermal control system fluid loops from the radiator. This system is what will help keep the internal temperature of Dragon temperate for our crew during reentry, as it does heat up a little bit on the outside of the vehicle. Next up, we are waiting for the claw to separate. The claw connects the trunk to the spacecraft, delivers power, telemetry, and fluids, and claw sep is the first step in trunk separation. And we did hear that call out for the initiation of claw sep. So that event is now in progress. We're waiting for the conclusion of claw separation.
Nominal trunk jettison.
And all of that just happened. Claw separation as well as trunk jettison.
There we go. And it's a good example of the kind of things that we're listening for on this phase of the mission. Really are back to back, and they're structured in a way that are very timelined, very expected. And so while we wait for those call downs, we want to be very cognizant of, is crew checking back in with ground, is ground checking with crew. But once the vehicle hits those certain points and the commands are retrieved, sent, executed, whatever, that we're waiting for those and we're expecting those.
Yeah, and then we do have nose cone closure coming up in just about 3 minutes or so is what we are expecting. And in the background, Dragon is currently inhibiting those forward bulkhead Draco thrusters that we just used to complete the deorbit burn, ensuring it's safe to latch the nose cone shut for reentry. Also, the vehicle has initiated the nitrox suit purge. This will help keep the crew cool and comfortable during reentry, and which again is coming up in a few minutes, that nose cone closure in just about a couple minutes. Now at this point, the nose cone is preparing for closure.
That's right.
Yeah.
And now for those of you just joining us, we are, as Jess just mentioned, we are in the phase of flight where we've now gotten good confirmation that the claw has separated, that the claw has retracted, and that the trunk has been jettisoned. And we're waiting for that nose cone to close. And a minute ago, we had good visuals inside the vehicle showing our commander, Peggy Whitson, and our pilot, Shubhanshu Shukla, engaging with those controls for the vehicle to maintain insight, to understand where the vehicle is at this moment in time.
And what you're seeing on your screen is a map of where Dragon is above the Earth. And again, it's making its way over, it's going to make its way over the Pacific Ocean to splash down off the coast of California. And you can actually see how close it is passing by the International Space Station there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Again, it's amazing being able to actually maintain the kind of awareness we have on this, right? As you know, last night when we were tracking undocking, kind of understanding where Dragon is relative to station with regards to things like the keep out sphere. It can be easy on a day like splashdown when we're not talking about from undocking from the space station, to still be able to maintain awareness of where we are relative to it. I think in our orbit is fascinating.
Again, we are waiting nose cone closure, and if you've been following along SpaceX, reusability is extremely important to us. That is what nose cone closure is for. In previous Dragon designs, we used to jettison the nose cone, but being able to close the nose cone allows us to just reuse it. We actually don't necessarily need it on the re-entry, but it does protect the forward of the Dragon spacecraft during ascent, during launch, basically.
That's right. Yeah, and being able to reuse that, I think, is an incredibly important aspect of what we're trying to do as we advance these missions, right? You take every mission and you learn from it, and you say, what can I do next with it? And so being able to now close your nose cone and keep the vehicle for next time is pretty important.
Makes reusability and preparing for the next mission very easy.
Exactly. But you're right. Now, once we're closing that nose cone, we have to make sure that there's no more Draco firings that are happening, because once those Draco firings are done, we can then safely close the nose cone and prepare it for re-entry.
Again, we are waiting for nose cone closure, and it is expected to be fully closed any moment now, so we are just waiting for that confirmation. And if you're just now joining us, the crew has already completed a deorbit burn, which lasted about 18 minutes long. We had claw separation and jettison of the trunk, and nose cone closure is now in progress. Again, we're waiting for that nose cone to fully close, and then we'll begin to reorient the vehicle as it's lining up with its landing zone and prepare for re-entry through the Earth's atmosphere.
That's right, and that landing zone for today is in the Pacific Ocean. In previous Axiom missions, we've gone to the Atlantic, but for this mission, we'll be splashing off the coast of Southern California. And at that point, once crew has landed has splashed down rather. We'll be dispatching crews out to the crew to retrieve them, pull them aboard Shannon, our SpaceX's retrieval vessel, and at that time, ground crews will also be assessing crew, making sure they're okay, and Axiom Space personnel will also be providing support to the crew as we pull them back on board.
Yeah, and what you saw on that graphic is we do have a few different splashdown zones. Today, we are expected to splash down off the coast of San Diego today. And there you can see the trajectory that Dragon is going to be making as it makes its way to that splashdown zone.
That's right. So if you're in Southern California, you should get some pretty good views. We won't have any here today. We're inside. But we will be following along closely, obviously. Once those parachutes deploy, we get good visual confirmations of crew. It's important to note that the ground crews will know exactly where Dragon is landing, or splashing down rather. And at that point, we'll be able to go out and retrieve them. But prior to that, you should get a pretty good view of Dragon coming in.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty cool view. I've seen the videos, haven't seen it in person just yet. Hopefully one day I'll get to see re-entry of a crew. But if you're in Southern California and you go outside in about 15 minutes or so, you might be able to see it.
That's right.
Now, we do expect that the nose cone is fully closed at this point, but just waiting for confirmation of that closure.
Exactly.
Again, the nose cone helps protect the forward bulkhead thrusters and just the forward section of the Dragon spacecraft during ascent. And closing the nose cone, again, just helps with recovery. So far, we've had a pretty smooth return home. The crew undocked from the International Space Station yesterday at 4:15 a.m. Pacific time. They spent 22 and a half hours coasting, doing a few more orbits in space before they come back down to planet Earth. And we're just under 30 minutes from them splashing down. And again, we have this new clock on your screen, in the middle of your screen, where you see that countdown to splashdown, which I love, because now you can see there's about 26 minutes before we expect them to splash down in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of San Diego today.
Yeah, I think having the countdown really helps bring home that they're almost here. It is time for the AX-4 mission to come to a close, but this is just the dynamic phase of the missions that's coming to a close. There's so
Dragon, SpaceX, nose cone secured for entry.
Dragon copy, nose cone secured.
And great call out there.
Yep.
The nose cone is now fully closed, ready
Excellent
for reentry.
confirmation.
And what you're seeing on your screen is the core, the crew operations and resources engineer. That's who was talking with the AX4 crew just now.
Right.
Now, once it's time for our crew to splash down back on planet Earth, they'll be heading to one of several targeted sites supported by SpaceX. Until recently, Dragon recoveries primarily occurred off the coast of Florida. This year, SpaceX moved Dragon recovery operations off the coast of California to allow Dragon to complete its deorbit before safely jettisoning the trunk over the Pacific Ocean. AX4 will be SpaceX's second crew mission to splash down in one of the new locations. From 2 was the first in April earlier this year. The new splashdown locations are near Los Angeles, Oceanside, and San Diego. And spreading the supported sites across multiple locations helps maximize the return opportunities for this mission and future crews, lowering the chance that we'll have to wave off due to bad weather. So our fully equipped recovery vessel Shannon is stationed in Long Beach, California, and is currently standing by to support splashdown today.
That's right. And like you said earlier, we'll be expecting to have that splashdown right off the coast of San Diego, as you can see on your graphic there. So we take into account many different variables, including what landing sites have favorable weather. And SpaceX teams have selected the primary landing site, as we just mentioned, as San Diego. Now, there are a number of weather-related items that play into splashdown and recovery operations. Some of the more obvious factors that impact operations are rain or chance of lightning in the recovery zone, both for the safety of the crew inside, obviously, but also for the recovery teams, as we've discussed, on the water. So we're looking for wind speeds that are less than 15 feet per second, or about 10 miles per hour, and relatively calm seas so that we can safely execute recovery operations. And these recovery operations include a lot, right? It's landing a helicopter on the recovery ship to fly our crew back to shore, but it's also pulling the Dragon spacecraft into Shannon, the recovery vehicle.
Yeah. And as we've been mentioning, there are a number of variables and criteria that come into play, and they all help ensure safety of both the crew and the recovery teams. But weather conditions today are looking great in Southern California near San Diego. And for these operations, SpaceX closely coordinates with the United States Coast Guard to establish a safety zone to ensure public safety and for the safety of those involved in the recovery operations, as well as the crew on board the returning spacecraft. Now, multiple notices are issued to the mariners in advance and during recovery operations, and Coast Guard patrol boats are deployed to discourage boaters from entering the splashdown zones.
And that's right. We really want to stress to the public the need to respect this safety zone. Recovering a spacecraft from the water is a hazardous operation, as you can imagine. And any other boats interfering in the area not only increases the risk to the astronauts in the spacecraft, as well as the teams working to recover them from the water, but also to those themselves who would be going out to see it. So for the safety of the crew, as well as your own safety, we recommend you sit back from home, watch and follow along the action from your TV, as the teams who have trained extensively do this.
For final entry briefing, report when ready to copy.
Dragon's ready to copy.
Dragon, I have no deltas to the previously briefed times. The vehicle is healthy, weather is still looking good, and recovery forces are on site. Predicted COM blackout starting at 0918 Zulu and ending at 0925 Zulu. How copy?
No deltas to the timeline. Everything's healthy and weather looks good. 0918 to 0925 for the COM blackout.
That's a good readback, Dragon. And with that, I'll be looking for you to verify that tablets are secure, visors are down, and restraints are tightened no later than 150 kilometers.
Dragon copies. Welcome.
And we just had some great comms between the Corps and the crew. It sounds like everything is a go for splashdown. We are expecting the blackout period to begin at 2:18 a.m. Pacific time. That lasts about 6 minutes, completely expected. We will lose comms with the spacecraft as the vehicle heats up with plasma around it, but we do expect them to pass through that in about 6 minutes and regain comms after that. So really exciting, about 21 minutes away from splashdown. And as you might imagine, astronaut training can be extensive, from training that is specific to each crew member's role to learning SpaceX protocols, space station systems, and preparing for the science and outreach activities that they'll be conducting in space. Private astronaut training is rigorous. In addition to the training in the field like they do through NOLS, or NOLS, the Axiom 4 crew spent about 35 days training inside of Dragon. Now, to prepare them for flight, our teams at SpaceX spent the last several months teaching the crew about orbital mechanics and how to live in microgravity. While this was more of a review for Peggy Whitson, for the rest of the crew, this was their first time flying on Dragon. The training program includes nearly 100 different lessons covering all aspects of the flight. The crew spent time inside of our Dragon training spacecraft to run simulations of ascent, the International Space Station rendezvous, and re-entry. And they also spent time at the launch pad in our suit-up room and working through emergency procedures that would be necessary in the unlikely event of a pad abort scenario.
And beyond those critical trainings from SpaceX for the ascent and return phases of the mission, Axiom Space has facilitated a host of efforts over the last 10 months to ensure that the crew and all those who support them, like ground operations, mission control, flight controllers, are all ready for the mission while on board station. And kicking off efforts for that training at Axiom headquarters in August of 2024, the X4 crew immediately began to familiarize themselves with the range of teams and systems that they would need to become proficient with in order to succeed. From selecting the food that they would eat and learning how to prepare it with the food warming and hydration racks on orbit, to understanding the tools and systems available to them throughout the International Space Station. Every small detail is critical to mission success. So in Building 9 at Johnson Space Center, the crews learned and rehearsed routine operations, medical procedures, emergency situations, and media exercises. All of this built up to full-scale simulations that were then run in coordination with ground teams at Johnson and around the world.
And as the name of the International Space Station suggests, specific modules are owned and operated by different nations. The crew traveled to Germany to earn their certification of these systems in the European module known as Columbus. As an ESA project